Where are the low-value men?
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site. If you can believe that, you can believe that, you can believe that.
Contracted COVID, but says with a mixture of medicines, including the controversial horse dewormer that has poisoned hundreds of people nationwide, he's now recovered.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?
From the headlines to the whisper start. Low value mail, low value mail at 9 o'clock. Where truth and fiction take a walk.
Why don't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon? You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
Our stories are.
Welcome back, everybody, to an all-new episode of Low Value Mail. It's episode number 184 on this Monday, May 18th. I believe it is a Victoria Day for the Canadians, for all who celebrate. That's Queen Victoria, May 24, as we call it, up in Canada. This means nothing to the Americans. And don't worry, it doesn't mean, nor does it need to. Sorry. Again, apologies for no episode last week. Just number of scheduling issues. Tried to make it happen. Wasn't able to, but should be good to go for the foreseeable future, which is good news. Gerard's computer is working tonight. Also good news. And again, if you are a supporter of the show, there's a priority number. I didn't drop it. I'm sorry. I was kind of up against the clock here, but it's in there in the Patreon. You can sign up patreon.com/lowvaluemail, MAIL, or become a YouTube member and you have access to the number. There's US and Canada number. Still can't get the UK number. Zoom, not very helpful in that regard. And it gives you a better chance of getting through. Abdul says, free my man Chud. He's innocent. Interesting take from Abdul. Our favorite Somali from Minneapolis. It's an interesting take. I don't know if it's a tongue-in-cheek thing. Does he really mean it? We'll find out. Of course, the phone lines will be open very shortly. Boys, by the way, ladies, we got a race war on our hands. You know, it seems like it's really been kind of building up. We have an active mosque shooter. Actually, it's not an active shooter. The shooter has been neutralized. This is a developing story. I don't have much to say on it. It's happening as we speak. But there's a shooting at a mosque in San Diego. This is the first tweet that I see. It's from Laura Loomer. Says the shooting in California took place at a jihadi mosque, which she probably considers all mosques jihadi mosques. Known for its hate preachers, the shooting was likely planned by Muslims and the Islamic lobby in America to spread more Islamophobia laws and create sympathy for Islamic invaders in America. It's all bullshit. Don't engage. This is just replace mosque with synagogue, Muslim with Jew. It's like a copy and paste, and you just replace the things. Like, is she actually? I was gonna say this and go, I don't know. Like, obviously she's nuts. You know, Dylan says that she's not allowed to legally own a gun. I can't confirm that. I believe it. She's crazy. But as someone who's just like such a staunch supporter of Jews, Laura Loomer, and you're like, is this not lost on you that every time something like this happens at a synagogue, people say the exact same thing? Laura Loomer, Laura Jumer, also Mark Fuhrman, dead at 74. Rest in power, Mark Fuhrman, for those of you who are too young. He was kind of the original Chud the Builder. A little bit. He liked to, he played a little fast and loose, I guess you could say, with the N-bombs. I guess you could say. I don't know what these people keep sending gold coins for 10 jewels. I don't know what that is, but thank you for that. I literally have no idea what that means. I don't know what it does. I don't know what it means. Thank you. All right, let's talk about Chud the Builder. I wanted to talk about this last week. What are these gold coins? Is this like a Jew thing? Is this what this is? I don't know. Okay. So I realize a lot of you likely have a lot of opinions on this. You will have the opportunity to voice them on this show once the phone lines are open. I literally don't know what's going on. Howling Labubu sent flow state. You guys are, what is this? A new YouTube thing where it's like they're turning into Twitch or some shit? Okay. For those of you not following, Dalton Etherly, a.k.a. Chud the Builder, a live streamer, had a verbal altercation outside of a courthouse in Tennessee with a black disabled veteran. Oof. That is a tough trio right there, which then led to a physical altercation, which then led to Etherly shooting the man, I believe 2 or 3 times. Okay. He has since been charged with attempted murder or attempted criminal homicide, employing a firearm during a dangerous felony, aggravated assault, reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. He's now in jail in solitary confinement, from what I understand, on a $1.25 million bond. He's raised around $250K for, on his Give Send Go. However, it appears Give Send Go will not release the money to him, and there's a new Give Send Go that is set up by his girlfriend. There's also conflicting reports about whether he can even use, not that he can use the money, so it sounds like he can use the money to pay for his bail, which is 10% of the $1.25 million, $125K. However, it seems you still need to put up collateral for the remaining amount. This is what I understand. I am not an expert in this whatsoever, but it seems like you still have to put up. So he's not even close to having enough money to actually get out while he awaits his trial. I guess it's possible that the charges get dropped. I'm going to go with unlikely, but it's possible. Also, funny, Shiloh Hendricks, she got $750,000 for calling that little black kid the N-word. He only gets $250,000 for this? How does that make sense? Explain that. Is it just because she's like a 6? Like, she wasn't that hot. She's not like some model. She was like a fucking trashy white girl. Sure, she was skinny and blonde, but she gets triple what he gets. He must be fucking kicking himself, because I think he had some other Give Send Go. He's been getting himself in a lot of hot water, as you would, living the life that he does. And I remember he got in a different situation. I don't remember what that one was about. He tried to do a Give Send Go. I think people were trying to ruin his business. He had like I guess he's the builder. I don't know if he has landscaping or some kind of business, and people were trying to cancel him, ruin his life, because I think he just said he's like a white-owned business, which is a no-no. You can say you're a black-owned business. That's fine. I think that's it. I don't know. I've never seen anybody else tout the ethnicity of the business owners where it's acceptable. I guess like an Asian-owned business, although you can do women-owned business is fine. Black-owned business is fine. Black woman-owned business is really fine. But that seems about it. Definitely there's no like, we're a Jewish run business. You're like, all right, well, I'm going to avoid that. Maybe like a Mexican run business. I've never seen that. It's really just the blacks have kind of cornered the market on that, where it's really the only ones where you're like, oh, you get extra points for that. Like they even have their own categories, like on Yelp, where you can go black-owned businesses if you want to only, patronize black-owned businesses. So it's unclear how this ends, I will say. Generally, district attorneys don't press charges unless they think they have a high chance of winning a case. Excuse me, I have a runny nose for some reason. Except sometimes they do. Sometimes they will press charges as the process is enough of a penalty, even if you don't, wind up getting convicted. Going through all of this is obviously a nightmare, similar to our boy Daniel Penny, which, excuse me. I think it's because I'm running the AC in here. Or I have Ebola. Apparently that's a thing that's happening right now too. Great. But remember Daniel Penny, who I would think would have probably been convicted if he had a giant library of live streams calling black people chimps and the N-word. I feel like if they presented that at his trial, Daniel Penny probably would not be a free man. And again, those are not crimes, right? We all agree on that. Even Abdul, not crimes, right? But it doesn't look good once a crime has been committed, allegedly. Now, the obvious question here, many people are asking, what if the roles were reversed? I don't think it's ever happened. It's hard to find any sort of exact comparison here, to be honest. If a black streamer rolled up on a bunch of white guys and called them crackers and honkies, the white guys would, of course, for all the whites listening, they would laugh. You go, that's funny. Is that meant to elicit some sort of response from me? I don't know what I would do if a black guy was like, these crackers are cracking out. And I go, all right, thanks. I don't really want to be on your live stream, but good stuff. The closest comparison I could think of would be probably if a black guy started randomly calling a bunch of white guy bitches. That's probably the closest we could get, or the F slur that I'm unclear about whether I'm allowed to say on YouTube or not. It's for homosexuals, right? That's probably the closest thing you can do if you're looking to disrespect, which is really what this is, a group of white guys, which we all know. Like a lot of people, I see a lot of the discourse around this, and a lot of people are like to just, they're in a state of pretend where they're acting like those aren't fighting words, okay? Which we all know they are fighting words, not for everybody. Some people are pussies, like myself. But for some people, we all do know on a cellular level that these are fighting words, right? Like that if you do this enough, if you are just like, hey, I am going to walk around today, and it doesn't even matter your race in this scenario. If you go, I am going to call as many men bitches as I can today, I will probably wind up in some sort of altercation by the end of the day. Right? We all know that. Is it a legal justification for assault? No, it's not. But again, we all know that this is what would happen. Every person, if you did this and you go hang out with go see your wife or your boys, and they're like, why do you have a black eye? What happened? And you're like, oh, I was just walking around live streaming, calling random men bitches and homosexuals. Every person would be like, yeah, that's what happens. And honestly, if we're being actual men here and not kind of like pussies, you'd be like, yeah, and you deserve it. Now you have the law on your side where the law says, no, that's technically, legally speaking, an overreaction, but you do deserve it. Obviously. Like the fact that this even needs to be said, where you're like, yeah, you deserve it. Okay. Now this situation isn't that clear. Chud wasn't Chud the Builder. I don't know. Do I call him Chud? Do I call him Dalton? I'll go with Chud. He wasn't live streaming in this instance. He was live streaming at the end once the police were involved. You can watch it on his pump.fun website, because that's where he streams, which I have something to say about that. But he wasn't live streaming in this instance, besides, maybe trying to get some evidence, which I don't know if it is, but, he didn't live stream this interaction. He was at court for a different matter. I don't know if it was, he had something where I guess he walked out on a bill. He was at some like restaurant and he had like a $400 bill. And I guess they wanted to kick him out. They're like, we don't want you here. But he had already eaten his food or ordered. I don't know. And so then the guy's got a lot of legal problems. He's got all sorts of shit. Right. I believe he was currently on a different bond for some other scenario. I don't know if it was the dining and dashing. I don't even know if it's considered dining and dashing. If you've ordered and they take your order, they bring you your food and they're like, you'd like leave. Now, if he was done eating and they go, hey, we don't want you in here, probably say you, again, if we want to get all legally about this, probably you do have to pay because you were provided a service and, the meal and you ate it. Maybe you say, well, I didn't get the whole service. Personally, I probably just wouldn't leave a tip, but I'm Jewish. I don't tip anyways. So what's new, right? But he wasn't live streaming. What it appears to have happened, and again, this is his side of the story, so, we got to take that with a grain of salt, is he was recognized by a group of black guys, because again, he lives in, I believe, like Clarksville, Tennessee. I think that's what it's called. He's probably, it's a small 200,000 person city. Probably he's known. He's probably people know who he is there, right? So he's recognized by a group of black guys for his live stream. Again, from his statement on the police. They start shouting at him. He says they're chimping out. He didn't say that. But they started kind of being like, keep walking. And I guess this one guy, the disabled black veteran, said something like, I have PTSD. Better not call us chimps. Walk away. Chud says, he's like, I didn't call them chimps. He goes, sure thing, fellas. Have a good afternoon. Started walking away. At which point, the one guy, I guess, like ran after him, starts assaulting him. The guy confronts him. They get in a physical altercation. Chud is defending himself. Obviously, he's claiming self-defense. Shot him. Again, even if he did call them chimps, he says he didn't. Doesn't legally justify getting assaulted. It does justify getting assaulted, just not legally justify getting assaulted. But again, this is not an open and shut case. That's for certain. It's not, and I don't know if we've got I couldn't find a story from the other side of this. Now, again, hard to be surprised that something like this would eventually happen. He lives in a 200,000 person city, north of Nashville. Look, I live in New York City. 8.5 million people here. I could make a video like one of his probably 5 times a day. If you ride the subway enough, you get a lot of opportunities, okay? And we've all seen videos of people, playing their speakers very loud. I mean, I took a train yesterday, and I saw a man get on, dressed almost like an 80s pimp. He had this little cane. It was just a prop. It was like this big. It was maybe 2 feet tops. This little gold cane and a speaker, big speaker. And I go, we're going to be listening to some music on this train. And let me tell you, pleasantly surprised, there was no music. Now, it might have been dead. That may be the reason why he didn't subject us to his music. But we didn't listen to any music. So, but again, I could make these videos all day, every day, if I wanted to. I don't. I don't want to get killed. But you got to, the old adage, where there's smoke, there's fire. It's hard for me to believe that all this shit is just randomly happening to him. He is just documenting his life, and just this stuff keeps happening to him, and he has nothing to do with it. He is just in every one of these scenarios just minding his business, versus, he's kind of seeking it out or somewhat provoking the behavior for, of course, content. That's what he's doing. He streams, and as I mentioned, on pump.fun. If you don't know what that is a website where you can make your own shitcoin. Check out Jewbear. I did it once. It takes 2 seconds. I guess you can live stream on there as well. And you can live stream, tie a shitcoin to your live stream. So you're like, hey, I'm a streamer. I have this shitcoin. And then the hope here is that you do all these live streams, pumps the shitcoin, and you become wealthy, right? So as much as you guys think this guy's like some free speech warrior, he's in this for money and maybe fame. I don't even know fame, maybe more like infamy, but he's not just some, altruistic free speech guy, very principled. He wants money, okay? You don't tie your live streams to your shitcoin specifically because you don't want money. That's the only reason why you would make one of these pumped-up funds. I made it because Slav wanted me to. But again, if I really was like, wanting to do that, again, these all go to zero. So other than doing it as this joke, I would not do that. And I watched a little bit of his streams. He mostly just walks around Nashville. That's the whole deal. Gets in altercations with people, but his goal is to get content. He hoots at people. He hollers at them. Not saying what that might resemble, but he does that. And, I heard him say on one of his streams, he was like, yelling at this group of black youths, and they kind of ignored him, and he goes, he's like, that could have been a good clip, but I guess we'll have to keep trying to get clips. So that's what his aim is. Now, again, none of this is a justification for him getting assaulted. Although, personally, this is my personal feeling, I think all IRL streamers should be getting assaulted almost all of the time. That's my personal feeling. I think they should always be getting assaulted. That's just me. Now, again, it's not legal for them to get assaulted. That doesn't matter. I don't want to assault them, but I also want them all getting assaulted pretty regularly. I mean, who didn't enjoy when Johnny Somali was in Japan or Korea or whatever the fuck he was, getting punched in the head? Who didn't like that? Maybe Abdul. Maybe Abdul didn't like that because he's also Abdul Somali. I don't know if they're related, but I think we all can say we enjoyed that. Now, as much as people want to make this out as like a First Amendment issue, because I see that a lot of that, they go, this is a First Amendment issue. I don't think it is. Not an attorney. I didn't, not going to lie, I didn't ever read the First Amendment until today. But it's pretty clear the First Amendment protects against censorship by the government specifically. Now, again, not a crime in this country to say anything to anybody. It's not a crime. As far as I understand, it's not even a crime to do that in Canada either, for that matter, despite what you would think. I would have thought it was a crime, at least at this point. Maybe not when I lived there, but now I was like, yeah, they probably made it a crime. It's not. But again, are you asking for a confrontation? Probably. I mean, he has clips. You can go and check out his clips on his Twitter page, his pump.fun page. And look, you don't see the entire interaction, obviously. He's, there's this one clip, and some of them are funny. Don't get me wrong. Some of them are like pretty funny. There's this one clip. 2 black youths are parked like assholes in a fire lane of a Walmart. It's like late at night. It's like, the parking lot's empty. If I saw that, I would be like, that's an asshole thing. But also, who gives a shit? It's fucking probably 10 p.m. There's nobody around. Like, really, who cares? They're parked in a fire lane. They're playing their music loud. Like, again, I know some of you are like, this bothers me. But again, you're outdoors. It's in a parking lot, Because obviously, if I am on a train, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to listen to your music. That is, I don't know if the social contract extends to parking lots. Maybe some of you would disagree. But he's like, they started it with me. I just looked at them and, again, if I had to bet as a guy who's trying to make content, I'd say there's probably more to it. I don't know. Now I want to get to something more important, and then we're going to open up the phone lines. And you guys can tell me, you disagree with me, agree with me. Tennessee is an open carry state, right? And the gun people know a lot more about this than I, can maybe shine some light on this. Now, it's hard to get into exact details on this instance. I'm going to assume Chud was not open carrying as he was on the grounds of courthouse, where it seems like you are not allowed to open carry, as far as I understand. But from the gun people I have spoken to before, it does seem like when you open carry, there is a higher standard of conduct when you open carry, right? And again, call in, tell me if I'm getting anything wrong. I'm Canadian. But to me, if you're walking around with a gun, you should probably be avoiding confrontation, not purposely courting confrontation in order to pump your shitcoin, right? And look, it'll be interesting to see if he takes it to trial. My guess is he will, and he'll probably be able to raise some money to defend himself. Hopefully all those fucking Shiloh Hendrix backers get in on the Chud the Builder train. I have a feeling this is not the last that we will talk about this. I doubt it. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. But sucks for him, but also this was eventually going to happen. Okay, the phone lines are open, everybody. 1-347-391-6995. We have Gerard answering the calls. Before I get to your calls, if you want to join the list of very important scrotes, aka the Scrote Wall of Fame, at the start of the show, you can join the $10 tier here or on Patreon. If you're a member, you can upgrade. And as always, you can support the show without any money. That's good too. Just like the stream, share with a friend, leave a comment, follow on Spotify. In regards to the bathhouse, it is dead. I appreciate your support, everyone. And also, if you have one of those Save the Bathhouse memberships on YouTube, please feel free to cancel it. We tried. It was not meant to be. It was not meant to be. So that's that. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. You can also see me on tour. I have a lot of dates coming up. My next one in Brooklyn, New York, right here in Brooklyn, New York, June 4th at the Improv. I have Stamford, Connecticut, Atlanta, Cleveland, Portland, Maine, Tacoma, Washington, Spokane, Atlantic City. You can get tickets at dannycomedy.com. God damn it. I always forget to press this one button Hold on. Hold on. Wait a second there, Bill. I'm retarded. Tickets at DannyComedy.com or punchup.live/DannyPolishchuk. Okay. Let's see. Howling Labubu says, it's more of a Second Amendment issue. If you're on the ground and getting pummeled, that's a life or unalive situation. Fair. And I understand that. But the thing is like, this wasn't the only instance where he's carrying a gun. From what I understand, because like that video where he's in the parking lot with those two black youths in that Walmart parking lot, he's also armed. I think he's armed a lot. I think he sometimes has like pepper spray. I believe he's one of the guys who pepper sprays people. So you would think you're constantly walking around with a gun, which is, again, you're right. If you have a permit for that, which I don't even, it sounds like in Tennessee, you don't even need a license. That's what I read. Maybe I read that incorrectly, but you would think you're like, okay, if you're getting in confrontations with people, at some point you're probably, and again, I don't know how the law works with this. Maybe they'll be like, yeah, I don't know. He's allowed to. Are you allowed to exercise both of your First Amendment right, Second Amendment right? Like, is there any conflict between the two? I don't know. Dylan says all light bulb heads are related. That's how they reproduce. And then Dylan also says, hard to believe Abdul's single with so many family members nearby. Abdul, you got to call in and stick up for yourself, man. We're not going to tolerate this. All right. Let's go to Billy from Philly. Let's get this on the road. Billy from Philly. What's up, pal?
Danielson.
How you doing, man?
Hey,
how's the thumb?
It's doing better. It doesn't hurt like it did, but it's still, I can't really hitchhike, so I can close.
Well, you have another thumb.
I know, but I like this one better.
Yeah.
Hey, but check this out. I signed up for this study.
Okay.
And you go into like a room, like into like I don't know, like an auditorium, and there might be 30 other people in there, and they'll pay you like $300, and you sit there and answer questions for like Duke Energy, like what's your favorite color, like all these goofy questions because they want to know who to advertise to.
Okay.
Like for Duke Energy, you know, for Duke or for whatever. It's just
like market research kind of.
Market research. So I signed up for one because it said liver problem, like if you ever had a liver disease, and so you fill out all this questionnaire. So I had a liver disease. Am I suicide? Am I, do I want to take my own life? No. Am I schizophrenic? No. So they called me. This was back in January. They called me up. I go in for the survey. It's $200 just to sit down with them and talk. They wanted to keep me for 5 days overnight
for $200.
No. The total was for $1,600. But I'm reading the survey, and it's for a study, and it says lysergic acid methyldiethylene, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's LSD. They wanted to dose me with LSD for 5 days with two people in the room monitoring me, had me hook up into an EKG and do 17 blood draws to see the effects of LSD. And I couldn't go home for 5 days. And I asked them, I said, well, how many other people are in this study? They go, just you.
What?
I'm like, just me?
And what's the benefit?
Yeah, dude.
It's like to LSD to like help liver problems?
No, it's to help people that have depression because they have liver problems. So
I love
they
that
want
people are,
because I don't have depression.
Yeah, I love that there's like businesses who are like trying to work on how do we like legalize. You're not getting. I don't think you're getting LSD legalized for health purposes. I mean, I guess they run ketamine and mushrooms and all this stuff. So maybe I feel like LSD is like a whole different beast. I mean, that would sound kind of fun. I wouldn't want them doing the blood draws while I'm high though. That would be like,
do it. I mean, it's like a port they put in there. They're not sticking you with a needle while you're high. It's like a little, because I had this done, like I was in the hospital a long time. It's just like a little port that they would just like suck out of as they needed it. You won't even know they were doing it. You know, it'd be
It's
like
just in your arm?
yeah, it's just like a little thing that just hangs there, like a one-way valve. So when they
Right.
need blood, they can just hook into it and then disconnect it.
That
So
would
it's just
seem like a
just-
buzzkill to me, though, still. I'd be like, I just don't want it. No blood draws while I'm tripping. Like, if they got you
Yeah,
for
well,
5 days.
So I told them that I smoked a vape, and they told me I failed because I used drugs.
Oh, really? Well,
because I
that's,
had one of those.
well, yeah, I guess that makes sense because they're trying to isolate specifically for this one drug. So then, like, if you're like, I'm using multiple drugs, they're like, well, now we don't know which drug is working, I guess. That would be...
Yeah, because they were saying with nicotine, you can't use any kind of nicotine. And they said if you do it, could you use like a chewable or a patch for the 5 days that you're at the clinic and everything? So I smoke here and there, but not much. But anyway.
What was the company?
I failed. It was called Morrisville Biomedical Laboratories.
Biomedical.
Morrisville, yeah, that's like right out of Charlotte. Some
Morrisville.
biomedical laboratories. Yeah, Morrisville, and I guess
Okay.
Oh,
Biomedomics. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Interesting.
Bio-
All right.
I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, that's the
if
thing.
you,
Is
if
like
you really want to know, I got the
LSD is like the
paperwork in there.
fucking cheapest drug on earth. I'm like, how do they even pretend or how do they expect to make money from this? It's like literally the cheapest drug.
I don't know. Maybe it's like, well, Joe Rogan, they were saying, he was doing that stuff to get people off of opiates and
Yeah,
crap.
the ibogaine.
But this was before that. They said I was the only. They said I'd be the 200th person to be involved in these studies. That's all they did so far. 200 people across the
200.
country.
Yeah, I mean, I know like people say mushrooms and stuff help with depression, and a lot of like veterans and take MDMA and mushrooms for PTSD. So I guess that's the logical thing. I guess their plan is like, yeah, we're gonna charge like fucking $50 a hit for it once they make it illegal for a tab of acid. But
But then I'm thinking, this is what they did to Charlie Manson, the Grateful Dead. What if I turn into like Sirhan and they
they think
like
you think maybe this is how they're MK Ultraing people these days? Is they're like, hey, we just want to do this.
Maybe me, because I'm a good shot.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been shooting guns my whole life. I'm into all this weird shit. I go to see Danny Polishchuk by myself. I mean, I'm some sort of fucking weirdo.
That's a fascinating little twist. Yeah, maybe this is how the government's still doing MK Ultra. Is they're just doing these LSD studies.
I don't know, dude. Anyway, I'll let you get to the other callers.
Right.
I just thought it was interesting.
Cool, man. Billy from Philly, everybody. Interesting call. All right, let's go to the Goob. I have an idea what his thoughts are going to be here, but maybe he'll surprise me. Who knows? Goob.
What's up, Danny?
How you doing, pal?
Pretty good. So I got to say, your description of the events was fairer than I expected it to be. But I do want to correct.
Well, I mean,
one little thing,
that's from what I gathered. That's what happened.
Yeah. So, one, it's completely fair that people think that what he's doing is being like this very antagonistic person and walking up and calling random people nigger, but he's not. He is
sometimes
walking up to people calmly. He's walking up to people calmly and going, "Do you believe in free speech?"
Yeah.
And then saying, "So do you think that white people should be able to say nigger?"
Yeah.
And then when people do, get all
start freaking
excited
out
about that word, he is at that point he's going back and forth with them, right?
Right.
He's,
but that's not what happened in
right.
his. Maybe his content has
right. That's
changed.
not what happened in this case either.
Yeah, but maybe his content.
But there is a big difference between like randomly harassing people and calling them nigger and like having a conversation with them, and then when they do start chimping out, calling them out for chimping out.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, maybe that's what his live streams are now. But like his initial videos were not that. Like the video, like he probably started doing these videos.
His initial videos were seeing people already chimping out and then calling them out.
No, like the one you can
out.
go look. You can go look on his. I think it's on his. I saw it on his. If you go to his Twitter page, and you can go see all his videos now. It's like one of the earlier ones because he hasn't been posting for that long. But the one with the cars in the park, like these kids in the cars in the parking lot. Again, yes, these kids are assholes. They're parking in a fire lane. Also, who cares? But they weren't like, he was trying to say
right, so he's like
I looked at
narcs.
Yeah, he's like cart narcs kind of. Yeah.
But amplified quite a bit, right? He's an amplified version of
But he's carrying a gun.
Yes, and that's perfectly legal.
Agreed.
The next point that I want to make, because that was, like I said, you actually represented it surprisingly fairly. Just wanted to, add that little bit of information in there. But what happened in this case, like you said, is he was coming out of the courthouse. This guy, we don't know 100% for sure, but it seems that this guy was there for the purpose of confronting Chud.
Okay. Do you know how he could have known he was going to be there? Was he live streaming?
Yeah. So no, but the court released that information, and then other people started posting that online that he was going to be there. There's people calling for him to be killed. There's rappers going, "We'll make you rich if you kill this guy."
Yeah.
And that guy, by the way, has more money in his Give Send Go than Dalton does right now. Which is insane.
Really?
Yes. Not much. They're neck and neck. Last I saw, he had like $3,000 more.
Okay.
Which was earlier today.
We are at 254. They're like neck and neck.
Yeah, when I last looked, he had 250, and the other guy had like 253.
Yeah, but well, Dalton has a new one though that's like close to 10K.
Right.
Because I guess he can't access it for some reason.
This guy is upset. He knows who Chud is. He's upset at things that he's seen Chud say online.
Yeah. And
so he goes and confronts him. Chud initially walks away, by the way. Like that is confirmed through all of the eyewitnesses, is that, Chud walks up to him when he sees him pointing and talking about him. Guy tells him to walk away, and so he just does.
Uh-huh.
And so this is not Chud instigating, anything, even if you think that nigger is a fighting word. He's not doing that in this case.
Yeah.
And this guy is there to confront him. Then the guy goes and confronts him again. Not 100% clear what's said. The guy's going, "I have PTSD, mace me, say that chimping out shit with me." And I'm going to assume that Chud probably did say chimping out at that point. But again, he's not.
You know what, though?
He's not.
Yeah,
he's not starting this.
Yeah, he's not starting it. I agree with that. And because, also, you're like, he wasn't filming it. So probably, when he's not making content, he's just like, what's the point? What's even the point of this? He's like, what do I get out of this?
Sure. Yeah. He just walked away like the guy told him to.
Now, I have seen some legal experts give kind of, opinions, I guess, on this, which is essentially that when you have this history, and again, this is going to be like a legal
history
argument.
Doesn't matter. Danny, I could attack you because you say offensive jokes. I could track you. Like, this is the same logic. Mm. So, this is what I'm getting at, is that, like, you can, if anyone can take offense to anything you've ever said online before and track you down and instigate an altercation with you and then attack you, and you lose the right to self-defense because you said something offensive online before, that is fucking insane. This is a First Amendment case. This is a Second Amendment case, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. And I don't know, are you a gun owner?
Absolutely.
Right? So what is... like, are there additional, I want to say requirements, but I have talked to many gun owners and like, yeah, you're like, you got to stay out of situations. Like the fact that you have a gun, it's like there's a higher standard, I guess.
But he did. He walked away. He's met all of these. Yeah. Even if you're applying higher standards, he's met all of these standards. And Danny, I love to talk about the trannies, so I'm going to bring this back to the trannies, right?
Yes.
This is the same kind of thing as if, because I call people troons online, a tranny tracks me down in real life, and then I'm no longer legally allowed to defend myself, and they're legally allowed to attack me. This guy has not been charged with a crime yet. The guy who attacked Dalton has not been charged. There's no debate about who swung first.
Yeah.
No one is even debating that this guy swung at Chud first. He has not been charged. Chud, Dalton, has a $1.25 million bail.
Yep.
They tried to not give him bail at all. The judge, on average, for murder cases, gives $50,000 bail.
Yep.
This is a complete railroading. And again, like, so now anyone of any minority class can compel your language. If you've ever said anything online they don't like, they have free reign to track you down in real life.
So
and attack
the
you.
one thing I'll push back on is when you're saying like online, as much as this is online, this is actually in person. He does all this stuff in person.
Not to this guy. But
the question is like, how much can they use his past, interactions against him?
They will try, but legally it shouldn't be relevant.
Yeah. Like for sure.
Legally, it shouldn't be relevant.
Yeah, like I've seen like a bunch of like attorneys kind of weigh in on this, and attorneys are even seem to be pretty mixed. They're like, this is pretty like complex because it's
really not. It's very simple. Like, even if Chud was going around harassing people, calling everyone a nigger randomly, do you want that precedent set where if you do something offensive online, if someone is offended by something you've done in a video or whatever, that they can track you down, and now they are legally allowed to assault you and you are legally unable to defend yourself?
Yeah, and you
that is
forfeit
an insane precedent to set, and that's what this case would be setting.
Yeah, and they're basically saying you forfeit because it's a stand your ground state. And I mean, this is what these like lawyers have been saying, is essentially like, if they can prove it, then technically he'd be forfeiting his stand your ground, like whatever. And it would now be like a duty to retreat situation because of all his past stuff, which he did. Yeah. Which he did. I guess they're saying,
right. So like, again, even if you're framing this, even if you're framing this in the worst possible light, even if you're framing this in the worst possible right, he's going around calling everyone a nigger. He has met every possible legal standard for self-defense here. It's such a clear-cut case of self-defense, and this you do not want to set a precedent of it's okay to assault people for being offended by anything, whether it be online but it's even worse that it's for previous things online.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the duty to retreat element though is almost like they're like, he like, it's like New York where you're like, no, you actually have to like run away. Like, regardless if you have a gun.
I don't think so in Tennessee. It's stand your ground in Tennessee.
It is, but that's what they're saying. These are at least the legal argument here, is that it goes from stand your ground to duty to retreat, so you just have to run away, which is how it is in like a lot of states. Like New York City, like if I'm walking around with a gun, some guy starts
that can't be applied to past action.
Yeah, like some guy starts swinging on me, like I can't shoot someone in New York, like even in New York, whatever, in New York State, like I have to run away. Unless I'm like
which is crazy.
I agree. But like if I'm stuck, like unless I'm stuck somewhere and I'm like, I literally could not run away. My only option was to shoot. But if you have an option to run away, then like, and that's what New York is. You're like, you got to run away, which is crazy. But I mean, this will be interesting. This will certainly be interesting.
But if a tranny comes up to you and goes, "It's ma'am," and you go, "Okay, sir," now they are legally allowed to assault you and you lose your right to self-defense. Like that's the same logic here.
Well,
that's insane. We cannot allow that.
It's like,
Chud must be freed.
Yeah. And it's more like, because I understand there's like obviously he wouldn't be in any trouble if he just fought this guy. Doesn't sound like it's the shooting that's the issue. Like if he just went,
with how hard they're going, again, they haven't charged the other guy. They've only charged Chud, and they've charged him as extremely as they possibly can. They would have gone after him even if it was just a fist fight. Also, if you want to get conspiratorial, there's a pretty good case to be made that this is a push by the FBI or the Fed.
Let's hear this.
So with the restaurant, right, with the Dine and Dash, when he walked into the restaurant, the hostess was getting off the phone with someone who called in about Chud, saying he was coming in there. She had her name. You can see this on the stream. She had his name written down on a piece of paper. They then kicked him out. told him not to pay, like, you just have to leave right now. And then they, filed these charges. So the charges were bullshit. They pull him in.
And they let him like eat it, order
into
his food and eat. And then they were like, you have to leave.
So it seems possible that the restaurant charges were set up by feds. They pull him, they arrest him and they interrogate him. The FBI interrogates him. They lock down his bank account. This was an
FBI matter? For Dine
yeah,
and
the
Dash?
FBI interrogated him for hours after the Dine and Dash while he was in jail for that.
Yeah. But this is confirmed that the FBI was involved in a Dine and Dash? Because that's pretty suspicious. Yes,
they were interrogating him to, they were going, oh, are you part of some white supremacist terrorist group? So it wasn't, the Dine and Dash was the excuse to be able to interrogate him. That's what I'm saying.
No, I understand
they
that.
made some bullshit charges so they would have a reason to detain and interrogate him, which is what they did, but it wasn't directly about the Dine and Dash.
Right. Yeah, because
right. Then
Dine and Dash would never involve
Then they killed his dog.
When they killed his dog?
Then they killed his dog. Like the next day. So within like 48 hours of all of this happening, I think maybe even 24, they killed his dog, which was also quite possibly feds, trying to amp up him, trying to, get him into a bad situation. And then they have his location posted where he's going to be. They know that people are out there wanting to kill him. They're trying to set up the situation. It seems like this was a pushed situation by the feds, not something that's like fully orchestrated so that like, I'm not saying the black guy is a fed. I'm saying they were trying to manufacture this situation, trying to push it. And it seems that that's what they did. And then once, the situation unfolded, they go railroad him, do the most insane shit you can possibly do. Make him so he can't use his give, send, go, lock his bank accounts, 1.25 million bail, which is higher than any bail that's ever been set by that court ever. And they've had quadruple murderers there. The judge has literally they tried to give him no bail at all. The judge has never recommended no bail for anyone before this.
Yeah. And he's like in solitary confinement, and I can't imagine prison's going to be arguably jail is going to be a great. I mean, that's probably necessary for jail because I don't think from what I understand of prisons or in America, obviously they are racially segregated, but I don't think jails are like that, or there's like, they break.
There's a lot of clips of him getting along with black people really well.
No, I've seen them as well. Yeah, I've seen them as well. This is I mean, this is the worst case scenario for him because you're like, you literally shot a guy. And I mean, I remember if you remember after the Daniel Penny situation, literally like 3 days later, maybe like a week later or something, there was a similar thing on a train where there was a black guy. He was like, mentally ill, going crazy, threatening to kill everybody. And another black guy stabbed this guy and killed him. So at the time, everyone's like, obviously it'll be like the Daniel Penny scenario where they're going to charge him with murder.
Of course it was.
And then they just dropped the charges.
Standards.
And they just dropped the charges. Yeah.
Two-tier justice system. This is part of the white genocide, Danny, that you refuse to believe in, but that is so obviously blatant. This is a crucial case. It's very important that if you are white and not completely suicidal and retarded, that you support Dalton.
Now, do you think that if he is, say, convicted of like, something, because I can't imagine he'll take a plea, just like it just doesn't seem like it'll make sense to not in this kind of scenario. I think he'll go to trial. Do you think like the whites will kind of try and put together some kind of George Floyd situation?
I pray they would. I think there is a chance, but it's, not a great chance, honestly.
Yeah. The whites just don't do that.
The thing is, right-wing white people are very individualistic.
Yeah.
And so this whole collective, come together, and be a united front. It's not within our nature, and we're not good at it. We don't have the organization. We don't have the the infrastructure that the left has. There were 5 Antifa people arrested at the Jake Lang event that just happened.
The one at the baseball game?
Bailed out. No, the one before that where he was burning the Quran.
Because I saw he had like deport 100 million. I think his thing was his thing white genocide? He had a white genocide, like a giant poster at a
deport 100 million people.
Deport 100 million people. Yeah.
But all 5 of those people were bailed out the same day.
Yeah.
Right. The left has this infrastructure to support these things. The right does not.
Yeah.
And all of the
a lot of the judges, a lot of the district attorneys, like a lot of these like elected judges, probably a lot of them are, depending where you are, pretty liberal. So they definitely have that going for them. All right, Goob, I gotta let you go, man. Thanks for calling in. Goob, everybody. All right, let's go to Abdul. Let's see if he was a little tongue-in-cheek, free the chud. Abdul.
Hi, Danny. How are you?
Good. How are you, man?
Can you hear me good?
Yeah, can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, yeah. First of all, I want to say it warms my heart to know the message to Dylan that whites will be in the minority in 20 years.
They will be.
So,
the way things are going.
So the likelihood that his daughter could be
on that question, you know a lot of Somali people. What would you, if you had to just guess off the top of your head, average amount of children of a Somali couple? And
Jesus. Ooh. Every Somali family I see has like 3, 4 kids.
3, 4, 5 kids. Are you listening, whites? I mean,
yeah.
It's hard to think there's going to be any other situation. Even more. Yeah, the Spanish. Indians crank them out. It's almost like only the Asians really don't crank them out. It's like Asians and whites don't really do much, but it seems like everybody else is just cranking out kids.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, keep talking. My message to them: keep talking shit. Your people are going away. So.
Well, they're not going away. They're not going away. It's not like a full genocide. It's just they're just not getting replaced at the same rate. Which is really who's to blame there?
Me personally, I think at the end of the day, the only color that matters is green. That's just me personally. I mean, Minneapolis is full of poor white people, full of wiggers.
Yeah.
It's full of poor people of all kinds. So,
yeah.
But I was being silly at the beginning. Obviously, this guy does not deserve to be walking down the street. He's a menace.
Say that again? What was the last thing you said? Are you on speakerphone?
I said that. Yeah.
Hold on, I have this like weird, like kind of on my end. There's like a little echo, so it's hard to hear people on speakerphone.
No, I think he's a menace. Yeah.
Oh, he's a menace. I mean, he's
Yeah.
Do you I mean, he's literally like he's an IRL streamer. And that's like what they do. They're all menaces for the most part. That's it's.
Yeah, but he's carrying a gun.
He is carrying a gun, which again. He has a license for it's it's in the Constitution.
And he used it.
He used it, but
someone got shot.
Someone did get shot, but it does seem like like that person who got shot was the aggressor. Like in a scenario where he didn't have this, history, you would just be like, yeah, I don't know, he's a random guy who fucking rolled up on him and started throwing punches, and he was defending himself. I don't think he would even be charged if he didn't have any of this history at all. I think it would be pretty.
My message with him to be like, you brought a gun to a fist fight. Yeah, I don't think you have the right to use a gun.
It's more like a guy brought fists to a gunfight because, like, he didn't instigate the fight. Like, Chud Had a gun, yes. I don't know why you. I guess yeah, because someone says Pat Doe says, Danny, how did he walk out of a courthouse with a gun? That I don't know. I think he was on his way to the courthouse. Maybe you check in your gun. You guys can explain this a little more. I don't know the mechanics of this, but he obviously had a gun. He had a license for a gun, but he was attacked. Like they're only going to get him on. Like the only way that they're going to get him is on some technicality where they basically say that his past of provoking people essentially like derides his stand your ground laws, like overrides it. Whoa. What is that?
Oh, you can hear that? Oh,
Yeah.
I live right.
What the hell is that?
I'm sorry. I live by the airport.
Oh, you live by the
I'm
airport.
standing-
That
I'm standing
was an
right
airplane. Okay. But anyways,
Yeah, that's an airplane.
If they get him, it will be on a technicality where essentially they say he no longer had stand your ground coverage, I guess.
Oh, can I ask you? So I didn't watch the video. Did he start?
There is no
did he
video.
start the trouble?
There is no video. There was he wasn't live streaming. He started live streaming after he was in like police custody. He started, and like you can't see anything, you can just hear it, but there is no video because he wasn't live streaming. He was just on his way to a court date. And but he's probably like a known guy. You know, obviously you go with Goob's thing where there's like this huge conspiracy possible, but he's just like a known guy. He lives in like a small city, and he's like this somewhat like known guy on the internet. And you know, I don't think it's super cool though.
I'm gonna go ahead and assume that he started it. Can we assume that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Speaking of, are you interested in bringing back conspiracies full time again or no? I mean, there's a couple out there I'm kind of interested in.
Such as? I haven't, you know what? I haven't had any. I mean, I guess I haven't even touched on the whole, the government dropped these UFOs on us and then literally nobody gave a shit. Like nobody gave even, there was nothing. It was like, maybe that was 24 hours. 24 hours in the news cycle for they're like, hey, we have a whole UFO website, and everybody's like, don't care.
I grew up on the X-Files. You probably watched. Did you watch the X-Files also? Because I grew up on.
I watched the X-Files. Yeah, I watched the X-Files when I was a kid. Yeah, I like the X-Files.
Because I mean, the later seasons were dog shit. I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing, but.
Yeah, I wasn't like a diehard.
Like the first few
I mean,
were,
look, I like a good conspiracy, like the next of, like the, like everybody else. I haven't heard any good new ones. That's, I feel like it's a lot of it's just just the same old shit.
So what just real quick, one of the ones that fascinated me, like the Bermuda Triangle, like things keep disappearing.
The Bermuda Triangle? I mean, that's like that's like fucking meat and potatoes conspiracy from like the 80s. It's like, I mean, if that was the thing is like, again, you're like, if the Bermuda Triangle was a thing, we would have had some disappearances post like Amelia Earhart or something. Has there, if that was
it happens all the time.
Still,
I think they're happening more recently.
There's
like airplanes keep disappearing.
In the Bermuda Triangle, there have been airplanes disappearing recently?
There are not like 2026, but over the years, you've had not just boats, but it's also been planes that just like totally disappeared.
Oh, okay. Here's the most
this is all conspiracy.
Yeah. So if well-known disappearances from the Bermuda Triangle, 1945, then 1948, 49, and then there's one from 2017, a private twin turboprop aircraft vanished from Miami air traffic radar at 24,000 feet. That's the most recent. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm sure I feel like for the amount of air traffic that happens there, because most of it is like pre-1949. Here's one in 65, another one in 65. A private plane lost with pilot and one passenger en route from Fort Lauderdale to Grand Bahamas Island. I mean, that's like such a well-traveled route. You know, there's probably like 100 planes that pass through there on a daily basis. February 2017, Turkish Airlines flight was forced to change its direction after some mechanical and electrical problems occurred. But you're like, that's nothing. And then, a private plane from 2017, and then it says the plane wreckage was found later. So, and then there was a bunch of incidents at sea previous to that. Yeah, I don't know about the Bermuda Triangle. That was like one of the, you would see, what was that show with like Robert Stack from like the 80s? Unsolved Mysteries.
Not familiar.
Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember when I was a kid, it'd be like Unsolved Mysteries, the Bermuda Triangle. I don't know. I feel like we've covered Bermuda Triangle. Anyways, Abdul, I gotta let you go, man. But it was good talking to you.
Okay.
Free Chud.
Okay, bye.
Later, man. All right. Let's go to Dylan. Let's see what Dylan has to say. The great research says, yo, what's up?
No, go ahead. Read your Jew money.
The Great Restart says about 12 animal species individuals whose measured or estimated cognitive abilities are at or above the rough Somalian equivalent of IQ 67. I mean, Abdul doesn't have an IQ of 67. He seems like a smart guy.
Shut the fuck up. Don't say that. That's not.
What do you mean? He's got a fucking college education. He's got a college education. 67's like Forrest Gump. Who I think also did have a college education, actually, now that I think of it. But it's because he played football. All right, Dylan.
I was going to do an impression of him, but then I remembered that Norm quote where you can't do an impression of somebody you hate. So it's going to fall flat.
See, I like having this wide swath of callers, though. Gets people fired up. So
yeah, I know you do. So what's up? Tim Pool over here.
So what's up?
So I have a little bit of a conspiracy for you, and I've been meaning to bring it up to you. So about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was listening to Douglas McGregor. You know who that guy is?
Yeah. You know what? I can't get a beat on this guy. I see his tweets. Sometimes he says some credible stuff. He's always in his comments being like, go follow this like news site, which obviously like there's some financial incentives, but because he's like, you know, some big time general, right? And he'll go from like he's like a colonel, and he'll go from posting stuff where you go like, that's interesting, to stuff that is like obviously made up. And then I'm like, and the moment you're like, you post too many made up things, I'm like, I can't take anything you say seriously, because you post these things that are like blatantly wrong.
You wouldn't like him because
it's not that I don't like him. It's like,
I get it.
A guy like him needs to have like a higher hit rate for me to like, I don't want to follow a guy who I have to go fact check everything he says, because he like says crazy shit.
Yeah. Just like you let that diaspora guy come on here and then talk shit about whatever Syed Muhammad, whatever his name was, because so I had something kind of interesting come to my head when I was listening to Douglas McGregor. He said something about how a few weeks back, a couple of Japanese high officials got caught in insider trading.
Okay.
And he brought up that the insider trading was happening around this Iran thing. And I was like, man, why does, like, aside from Japan being like the largest holder of our debt, since China's released a lot of their treasuries that they own, they're actually the biggest holder of our treasuries now.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking about this one guest that Tucker had on maybe about a year ago named Richard Werner, who he wrote a book and then they made a documentary about it called The Princes of the Yen, about the Japanese asset bubble.
Okay.
Which occurred after the Plaza Accords. And essentially what happened with first the Plaza Accord was that America agreed in the 80s, I think it was 85, to go and depreciate their dollar. And then Japan, Germany, and a couple of other countries, like France, were in on it. And then following that, Japan had this insane bubble, especially with land properties, where like just the amount of property that they had outside of, I think their presidential palace, I think, was like valued at the worth of California's whole GDP.
Wow.
And so, then I started looking at what happened during their asset bubble, and they started having they had a lot of things happen that were very similar to what's going on. An insane amount of spending. They started developing their incel male culture. People had so much money, they were making all these art purchases, and I started thinking about how all these YouTube ads were coming around for a while about investing in art. They had a bunch of rise in teenage prostitution. We have OnlyFans happening. They had a huge, what brought it on originally when they first had all their growth was a giant surge from their technology sector.
Yeah.
And then they were just giving away money.
Yeah, they had 0%. They had 0% interest rates for
0.4 was at its lowest.
Yeah, which is essentially zero. It's like the carry trade, which was basically like you could borrow. It was like you borrow in Japanese yen, but you have to convert the money. But then you have to figure out ways to essentially deploy the money because you could get a higher return in the United States or basically anywhere else in the world. But you're borrowing at 0.4% or 1%, which is like essentially zero.
Yeah, and then so the reason I'm getting at this is that at the same time, the Yakuza started to get less involved in prostitution and drugs, and their big source of money now is development building. Well, who do we know that in our government is rich because of being a developer? Trump. I think what's going on.
Witkoff and what was the other Semitic fellow? And Donald Trump, Lutnick, Trump. I mean, all of them are all fucking real. Like the whole thing's real estate developers.
And so what I think is going on is that they made a deal to bring in all these immigrants because recently they've started bringing a lot more immigrants, and all these countries that were involved in the Plaza Accords originally are all the same countries that are bringing in all of these illegal immigrants. And I know you were talking about how they were trying to solve their deficit issue with bringing in immigrant labor.
Yeah.
And so I think this prime minister that originally campaigned on deporting and getting rid of all the immigrants had a change of tune, and she just completely went against everything that she campaigned on, just like Trump did, to go ahead and make a deal with this insider trading. And some lower people took the fall. And I think it's going to bring on it. Like basically the lesson is that they started creating these giant bubbles, which they've been doing throughout probably the last 120 years. But what they do is they create these havoc situations so that they can reform the entire financial system.
I mean, dude, the insider trading coming from the White House right now is fucking egregious. Like the shit that they're doing, like between the poly market and oil shorts and longs, like all of it is like, it's hard to fathom that they're not even trying to hide it. They're just doing it. And they're just like, yeah, this is just the deal.
So there's a CBDC, which what's her name, the nerdy chick from Chile always talks about the Epstein girl. But there's also another thing,
Whitney Webb,
that Whitney Webb, is that just like the vehicle companies started investing in the speculation market in Japan, all Ford and Tesla, which are the biggest evaluated companies out of our automakers, the only reason that they have such a high evaluation is because they sell green credits. And so all the other companies have to buy these credits from them. And so I think because with these green credits, somebody was speaking about it on another podcast, is that instead of CBDC, you're going to have your credit score, and they're going to tie it into your, allocation of beef. Your consumer credit is going to be tied into, like all the things that affect climate change and all that bullshit. And so that's where these people are going to keep their money, is from selling these carbon green credits.
Interesting. Yeah, so many scams going on right now. It's really hard to even keep track of them all. And it kind of drove me crazy because that one guy that called in, I think he said he was from Chicago, and he's a economist and physicist. So Cole,
I'm assuming he went to
Cole from Peoria.
I'm assuming he went to the Chicago School of Business, it's really odd to hear him say this thing about the like basically being like a Keynesian economic, like favorable to that, with like the deficit doesn't matter. Yeah. I agreed with a lot of the other stuff he said, but it just didn't really add up.
Yeah, I mean,
and the other thing I didn't understand.
The two schools of thought is, there is a chunk of people who are, running the show who are like, yeah, the deficit doesn't matter. And they've been right so far, other than obviously the inflation and debasement of the currency.
Well, that's exactly what they thought during the bubble. And I just don't understand how anybody could fathom that, like, because like the BlackRock thing, I think they learned from the original 2008 crash, is that when they gave out all of those loans with such a low interest rate, is that instead of letting the consumers fuck this up for them, what they're doing is letting BlackRock raise all the prices, and then they can build off credit, because BlackRock also owns all the pensions. And so for them to continue making money and keep their sorry, my kids are screaming. Keep their company afloat, they have to keep expanding. And so if they keep buying these houses and raising basically our own asset bubble through property, then they can keep these pensions high. And then what's going to happen is when all the boomers die, we're already going to be too priced out to go and purchase out all of the homes that get flooded onto the market.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, it seems like we're almost already at that point, like at least in like major metropolitan areas. Like, again, you can go live in some place people don't want to live, but I feel like we're at that point already in a lot of places where
I don't understand how people don't see this. Like, I speak to my dad all about it. Like, he's well versed in so many things, but he's a self-admitted Keynesian. So I just, like, I don't get how you can be a businessman and not have like realized that doesn't work.
Well,
like,
he probably got fat off of it, like, and he's just like, yeah, it's been good to me.
That's what I'm saying about this guy from this Cole guy. I'm assuming because he sounds older, that he would love to see, his retirement 401k keep increasing. Because he said, what was very odd is he said that he couldn't afford the $1 million house that he grew up in, which I would assume that if you're, that well educated, that like my dad's got $1 million house plus like 6 other homes. He's an engineer.
Yeah, I mean, so $1 million house is like not even a crazy thing anymore. Like, it's not like the flex it was 20 years ago. Like,
and
like
also somebody in the chat is saying, buy gold. I've called in about this, and someone else called in a couple months after that just understand that the gold price, they can crash that just as easily as anything else with the London Bullion Exchange and the New York, I forgot who runs the
COMEX
gold
or
market
whatever.
out
I
of
think
New York.
I think it's
The COMEX.
It's either J.P. Morgan or Morgan Stanley. It's one of those two. I mean, again, if you're
I don't remember who the guy.
If you're buying gold, like, because yes, they can crash it, but they can't crash it for 20 years. They can crash it for a year. But like, if you're making these trades, like, you have to be like really long term on this stuff, and that way you'll never get shaken. You can't get shaken out if you're like, yeah, I'm a 20-year guy.
How when all this silver went and started skyrocketing, and all the gold started skyrocketing a few months ago, what was the problem before? Is, okay, you've got all this gold, but who's going to buy it?
Right.
The only way to make money was to ship it over to China and then have someone else buy it, which like, good luck doing that. That's like the old days of like when you had to buy Bitcoin through
the fake Sam Bankman. It was like the fake Sam. Well, Sam Bankman-Fried's origin story, which many people are like probably turned out to be fake, was the what was it? The kimchi trade arbitrage, where he's like, because Bitcoin was highly regulated in Korea, so he's like, you could buy Bitcoin in America and you could sell it for, it was like $5,000 more per Bitcoin in Korea. But then there's this whole thing where it's like, you'd buy the Bitcoin here and then you go over there, but then you'd be opening these accounts and like they'd be getting shut down. And they're like, what are you doing? And he's like, we all just managed to do it. And then all these people in hindsight were like, yeah, that was probably a lie. But that's what he said. That's how he's like, that's how we got all our money, is from the kimchi trade.
This also reminds me of something that, remember several months back when we had that one bank out of California that was involved in all the tech sector? Yeah. Yeah. And it started going defunct and we had to go and bail it out.
Yep. Silicon Valley Bank.
So that was a very similar thing that happened in Japan, where their system was, they have all these different banks and these collectives where like all the different infrastructures or the different businesses revolved around one bank. And so when those would go under, that would send a like snowball effect to all other technologies or all these companies that were under that umbrella. And so we kind of keep getting a little taste of that. The same thing with how like all these different banks, they keep getting really close to not having money at the end of the night. You know how they have to go and make sure that they borrow enough money from a different bank. And we keep having that issue kind of skirt. So like we're on a situation where I think they're going to try to invest like they're already doing into the AI thing and then have a technology bubble the way that Japan did.
I mean, after that, there's a lot of people saying we're in an AI bubble as we speak, dude. Go look at the fucking share price of SanDisk. SanDisk, like, I wasn't even really following it. SanDisk has gone in the last year from, it's up 3,400% in the last year. Went from 1 year ago, it was $39. It was last week, it was $1,500. I remember SanDisk as like, they just made like fucking thumb drives like 20 years ago.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no way that you can't rationally see this unless like you're just like, well, my 401k is up, and it's like, what do you like? Retarded? You know that this, like, there's no realistic way that this can last.
Yeah. Also inflation. You're like, who cares if your 401k goes up 12% a year if inflation goes up, something similar, and you're like, okay, well, in like, in real terms, you're like, you didn't make anything. And, that's a lot of, and like all these like bonds right now, like the 30-year treasury is like over 5% right now, which is pretty crazy. Like, you could just take your money, put it in, and guaranteed for 30 years you get like over 5%, which is not good. Not a good sign for the economy. Anyways, I got to let you go, Dylan. Good talking to you. Dylan, everybody. All right, let's go to some more calls here. Phone lines are closed, by the way. I don't think I'm even going to be able to get through to all of these. Don't call anymore. Let's go to Rube Star. The rare Monday night Rube Star call, although I guess these will be more frequent now that the bathhouse is canceled. Rube Star.
Yeah, is it all right if I call Danny?
Of course. Buddy, it's a call-in show. What do you mean?
Of course.
What's happening?
Selling tickets.
What's that?
I'm selling tickets, Danny. I'm selling tickets.
Selling tickets to what?
June 12th, Hilarities, 2 nights, 6:30 and 9:15.
Oh, it's 2 shows. It's not 2 nights.
2 shows. 6:30, 9:15. Danny
Yep.
Polish Chuck.
Okay. Oh yeah,
And
it is 2
also
shows.
Dylan,
Okay. That should be fun.
Yeah, it's Dylan Carlino.
Who's that?
I don't know. I guess he comes on after you. He might be gay, so go easy on the gay jokes.
Dylan Carlino. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to. Well, I have someone. He goes on after me. What do you mean he goes on after me? I'm the headliner.
Maybe he goes on before you.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to talk to them because I have a feature for that show already. This guy Austin. So,
or there's 2 stages and he's on another stage.
There might be. It might possibly be 2 shows, 2 different stages.
Because it's Pickwick and Frolic. It's Pickwick and Frolic at Hilarities. And I don't know what that means. I don't know if there's 2 stages or 2 restaurants or what that means.
Yeah, there's 2. Yeah. There's 2 venues. No. He's No. He's at a different venue. Okay. I was concerned there.
No, you can say all the gay jokes you want.
Yeah. He's at a different one. We're in the cabaret room.
I've seen Jimmy Dore there.
Oh, okay. Cool. I don't know who Dylan Carlino
is. Yeah, it's a great place, and the food is very good.
Excellent. It should be a fun time. I'm looking forward to it. All right.
Also, we're up against David Lucas and Ari Matzi, whoever they are.
From Kill Tony.
They're going to be in town that night.
Okay. It's fine. It is what it is. It'll be a good time. If you guys if you live in the Cleveland area, come see me, come see Rube, do 5 minutes. It's going to be a fun time. Trevor Austin?
Yeah, twice.
Twice. I'm excited.
Yeah. So I got people going to both shows.
Oh God. That is, as a comedian, there's nothing you like to hear less.
No, I mean, I got some friends are going to go to the 6:30 show.
Oh, okay. They're not going to literally
to the 9 o'clock show.
Yeah. They're not going to back-to-back shows. Okay, that's fine. Are you excited?
Yeah, I just went through my contacts. Kinda, yeah. I'm kind of excited for it to be over.
That's a common thing sometimes. There are some nights where you're like, man, I just wanted this to be over. I'm not feeling it tonight. But that's just nerves.
So now I'm
because it's not even like you're only doing 5 minutes. I think this is just nerves.
Yeah. I've had cold feet the past 3 or 4 times. It never really goes away, but I just go more into automatic mode. I don't even think about it.
That's good. If you're able to do that, that's good. Yeah, that'll be good.
So
you'll do great, Rube. I mean, I'm gonna like it.
Yeah, I think so.
And you're on the show, so we get to hang. We get to hang in the green room. You get to actually hang in the green room.
Okay.
And be a comic. I hope you didn't buy a ticket. You're on the show. You don't need to buy a ticket.
Okay, I didn't buy a ticket yet. I didn't know which one to buy a ticket for.
You don't need to buy a ticket for either of the shows. You're a comedian. You're on the show.
Wow, Danny, this is. I'm coming through for you too. Just so you know, I'm giving you everything I got.
I can't, Rube. I can't wait.
So hold on, I got some more questions for you.
Yeah.
Do you want to do radio? Do you want to do radio spots when you're in Cleveland?
Not particularly. Is that something people are doing still? That's more of a 90s thing. People still do morning radio?
Well, I think maybe we have a morning show that knows me. I call in as Spider, and then we have an afternoon show that knows me. I call in as Rube Star.
Okay. Well, why don't you call in and you could promote the shows? Because I'm not going to get there until probably I probably won't even land until 2 p.m. the day of the show.
Okay.
So you could you call in and promote the shows on our behalf.
Okay. So this past Sunday it went good. I just want to tell you, I thought it was kind of funny. This lady in the front was so offended by the Jewish material, and it's a different reaction every night, you know.
Sure.
And this guy, I don't know what he was wearing. It was like a wife beater, but it was also like a bra material. It was like real silky.
Okay.
And he was like, "You want me punch him? You want me punch him for you?" And then by the
he was
end
threatening
of the
you?
set, yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
a real liberal town in Kent. I'm used to it. It's not the first time.
Yeah, I bet.
You know, people get a few drinks in them, whatever.
Sure.
He's probably just trying to get laid more than anything.
Wearing his
how I look
bra
at it.
material wife beater?
It
He wasn't a homosexual?
I never seen anybody wear anything like this. Anyways, by the end of the set, Danny, because I get to my dead brother and the jokes, she's clapping for me. She's clapping. She went from highly offended to clapping, and I started thinking, I said, maybe I got something good here, you know?
Yeah.
I got to keep sharpening it, though.
Okay. Well, you have like almost a month, so just keep working on it.
So I'm going to be doing the Rube House 3 Tuesdays out of the month.
Okay. The Rube House, everybody.
Picking up your time slot.
Cool. I'll probably check in on you at some point.
Yeah, you got a lot of great fans. I called into the Arena of Ideas, and you like Slavs over there in the comments, the Great Restarts over there, Drew Huntley. So there's a lot of crossover fans. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that.
Thanks for burping directly into the.
I'm sorry, Danny. It happened.
It happens.
And there's okay, so for the Rube House, I'm going to do a weekly astrology profile, stand-up update. I'm going to have a mission, tarot card reading, try to get some guest co-hosts.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to call into a show every week, and I'll give them an update, and I'll try and do stunts. But also,
I like it.
I just wanted to shout out, there's a Cleveland comedian that was just on Kill Tony, and it's not going to air, I think, until June 1st. Martin Malloy.
Okay. He's coming on the Rube House?
No. Well, maybe I'd have to arrange something with him, but it's nice to have a local comedian do something big.
Okay. I mean, isn't Marcelo from there? He's like about as famous as it gets.
Yeah, he's from there, but this Martin Malloy, if you haven't seen him, he's like 60 years old, Danny, and he like runs in place when he tells these jokes. He's like schizophrenic, psychotic. He has all these mental illnesses.
Exactly like Kill Tony. Martin Malloy.
This guy's great, man. This guy is great.
Okay.
They're all a bunch of like one-liners. They're real quick jokes. So just watch out for Martin Malloy.
Okay, I will watch out for him. All right, Rube. I'm going to let you go, but good talking to you.
All right, that's all I got, Danny.
Take care.
Thank
Rube,
you.
everybody. Check him out tomorrow night. I don't know if it's tomorrow night, but on the Rube House. Let's go to Jason. I don't know with all these coins that these jewels sent sparkles for 2 jewels. What the fuck does any of this mean? Jason, are you there?
Hey, what's up, Danny?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, so the jewels and the coins, is that a new thing or just something that
it
someone
must be. I've
figured
never
out how to play with?
It must be some kind of new thing from YouTube. I don't know what it is. I know they do stuff like that on like Twitch. So it must be.
Is there any cash value, or is this just the equivalent of people like dropping emojis on the chat?
I think they have to pay for them. I don't know if they convert to money for me. I have no idea. I have absolutely no clue. No clue. How are things?
Oh, not bad. I was
big shooting right now happening in your backyard.
Yeah, Yeah, that was on my list of things to bring up. I mainly wanted to call and talk about veteran suicide.
Oh,
but
let's talk about that.
Not genuinely. That was in reference to
Dylan.
the last episode of the bathhouse when I called and
Right.
So you told me that he had said something disparaging, but wouldn't say what. So I'd go back and listen. But I thought it was going to be something bad. I feel like that's fairly harmless.
Yeah, it was pretty. I guess he has an issue with. He doesn't like the vets. He's not a big. Not a big military guy. I guess we could say that.
You know, I'm starting to think he's kind of negative in general.
That's a lot of people who listen
to
these shows.
Yeah, but no, like in all seriousness, like I don't even think he believes it when he says stuff like that. Like I think that's just a shock value, edgy thing to say. That I want 18 million veterans in our country to commit suicide.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, who will defend the country?
But no, on the same. Well, and you know, I talked to the other veterans, and we all do it for Dylan.
Did you see Dylan?
So, but no, on the San Diego shooter, I'm still out of town doing temporary duty elsewhere, but I did see that they finally released the names. Was expecting it to be a couple whites. It looks like maybe it's a white and a Hispanic.
One white. I was like, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, some fucking Jews finally did it. Like some Jews just snapped, and with all the Israel stuff in the past couple of years, and they finally did something. And no, it's Kane Clark and Caleb Vasquez.
Yeah. So, but before they released the names, as I was reading the details that, you know, it was 3 adults confirmed killed, and then police found these 2 teenagers dead in a car parked nearby, apparent self-inflicted gunshot. I thought, well, for the false flag conspiracy theorists, they're going to love that.
Right.
Because that is the easy setup of, we stick 2 dead teenagers in a car, and that's who takes the blame. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the whole thing is though I guess that premise there though is that you have to go find 2. I guess they're previously deceased teenagers they died.
Yeah.
In like a car crash, and then you go, this is our chance. Let's transport their bodies over to the scene, kill some people, and then just kind of plant it.
I mean, I think the people that want to believe it's a false flag will just,
the thing is the same people...
They'll just square that however they want.
Yeah, but you're like the same people who are like, yeah, there's a false flag. They're also the same people who are like, yeah, the government is so incompetent. Like, they'll say that in the same breath, and you're like, this is like a high level of competence.
Which is it?
Yeah, like, you would have to be super competent to pull this off and not get busted.
Well, and, you know, having seen... you know, various levels of like incompetence, like usually that's where I skew to. Like, I wouldn't say that like there's no chance that it was a false flag or this operation was orchestrated by these people, but I genuinely skew towards, if anything, it was incompetence, not conspiracy.
Yeah. I'm curious why the mosque though. It seems like Muslims have been, people have been liking Muslims more lately. Like, they haven't really done anything.
I don't know. I mean, you know, it could be a pendulum swing. You know, the people that never forgave Muslims are tired of, you know, them being the victims in the news, maybe.
Yeah, because you're like, they're like, the Muslims are like the most on top they've maybe ever been in my life.
Well, yeah, definitely, since 9/11. You know,
well, since
9/11, bottomed out.
Well, but they had like the what was it, like the Twin Tower bombing in '95, the attempted bombing of the Twin Towers in '95.
93
or 93 or 93. Sorry. Yeah. So like 93. So it's like they never were like amazing standing, but this is like in my lifetime. Maybe the '80s were good for them, but I doubt it. So this is like
I doubt it too. So
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know either. And
unfortunate tragedy, which will likely lead to probably some of the. I mean, I've been saying this for a while. We're getting social media censorship coming back, I feel like it's only a matter of when, not if. And let's hope that they're not going to be like, yeah, they were radicalized by social media or something.
Well, and the last big wave of censorship was kind of self-imposed. Something like this could lead towards like actual, new legislation.
Yeah. We're getting it.
So
if we don't get it now, we're getting it the fucking week that the next Democratic administration comes in. It's going to be like week 1. They are shutting everything down.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So,
yeah.
but no, that was it. I don't have any special insight, and I'm not in San Diego right now. So,
all right.
You were just talking about Bermuda Triangle for some reason.
Yeah, you're a pilot. Thoughts?
Well, I've flown to Bermuda a few times.
Anything funky happening?
Kind of a cool place to fly because it just looks like a runway with barely any land around it. So it's just, open water on all sides. I've never seen any type of navigation equipment interference. My theory is since GPS navigation came kind of the standard for both nautical and aviation, that really is kind of put an end to that whole thing. So,
right. I mean, if it was known that it was riskier, they would fly around it. If they're like, this patch has a increased risk of crashes, you're like, okay, go around.
Yeah. Now there are places in the world where GPS coverage is not as good. The number of the more satellites you're getting signal from, the more accurate the GPS is. The only time I can remember flying and completely losing GPS signal was in West Africa, flying from Niger to Chad, and just going through GPS blackouts, like kind of briefly, but never anything like that around Bermuda.
Yeah, interesting. Is that scary when you lose GPS when you're flying, or is it just like whatever?
No, it's you kind of just go into holding a heading until it comes back. If it were to be completely lost and you're not getting it back, you would have to revert to like a more primitive form of navigation. But I've never had it more than just minor interruptions.
Right.
And it's not at all common. But,
cool.
But I've flown across the U.S. where the GPS failed, but we're still able to navigate with like old-fashioned ground-based radio signals, kind of like they did pre-GPS. So,
right.
But Africa doesn't have that infrastructure.
Have that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool, Jason. Good talking to you, man.
Yeah, talk to you later. Bye.
Take care. Superchat says, "Can Slav get on, please?" And EKM0228 sent one low value mail membership, and also starseed.p. Welcome to Low Value. Welcome. What are all these jewels? What do I do with these jewels? All right, let's go to Slav. Ask and ye shall receive. And then we'll go to Will. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
What's happening?
I would have thought Rube would have done one of his horoscopes on Chud.
Oh, that's a good idea. If Rube's in the chat,
maybe for the last call you could take for the night, you can do that.
Well, I'll let him do it, and I'll let him drop it in the chat, and I'll read it if I can find it. Let's see if we can find his birthday. Believe he says June 27th, 1997.
Yeah.
That's what we got.
Yeah,
or
we'll
he can do it. Or you know what?
Oh.
Actually, Rube, save it for the Rube House. A little teaser so that people want to tune in to the Rube House.
Yeah. I had two things to drop before addressing something akin to the Chud situation.
Sure.
First off, have you seen how somebody posted they got permanently banned from using Claude because they asked it to make a antivirus cure?
I didn't see that.
People were like,
I mean, I know these things have
guardrails. This has to be fake. And then other people started trying it, and they got the same result.
Really? Where just to make a vaccine for hantavirus, or to make hantavirus?
Cure. make a hantavirus cure.
Oh, a Hanto, yeah, like a vaccine. And they would get kicked off of Claude? That seems... it says here, May 15th, someone says, don't use Claude to find a hantavirus vaccine. You will get banned. AI is for taking jobs, not curing cancer. Weird. It says Opus 4.6 safety filters flagged this. Well, that doesn't make sense because you wouldn't be using Opus 4.6 on May 15th, which was 3 days ago. It would be 4.7. So that doesn't... I'm going to go ahead and say that's fake because it wouldn't have been 4.6 3 days ago.
I don't use AI, so...
You're missing out, man.
What? No, I'm not feeding that demon.
But wouldn't you want to program it with like a little like taste of Slav, so then that everybody else who's using it gets like a little taste?
No.
Okay.
No, because it's not gonna, my input is gonna make sure it doesn't get out, but whatever.
Maybe.
I don't need to use AI, bro. I'm gonna just use the critical thinking skills that I have, and then I'll use primary sources that, aren't published by Robert Maxwell.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah, and plus I've heard, with all the other strains of hantavirus, they just use ivermectin to treat it. So
yeah, I mean the hantavirus thing is, are we even still talking about this? Now they're on to like Ebola. Now there's like some big Ebola.
Yeah, that's just an outbreak in Africa.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess it could make it here, but it seems like now we're already on to Ebola.
It's a shithole continent, and I mean, they should just all be locked in there. Oh, and then the other thing is, you've heard about all these ticks.
Yeah, the ticks is crazy. Yeah, the ticks is this is my neck of the woods. Seems like Texas is pretty insulated from ticks.
Well, what is it? The ticks before like 10, 15 years ago, it was mostly like a southeastern American problem, where their range was. But now it's stretching all the way from Texas all the way north to like
the
Minnesota.
Northeast is the worst. Like where I am is
so
the worst.
It happens when it's like deer overpopulation, but also there's videos of people like recording, like they're literally airdropping these boxes of ticks all over us on our property. And it's for the alpha gal syndrome. They want to spread it.
Like, are they, are with the ticks, like them dropping the ticks, are they, like the government or whoever's doing this, are they admitting to it? They're just saying this is actually for something good, or are they denying?
Dude, there's videos from even before 2019 where they were talking about like, this is moral bioethics, where they openly talk about we're going to make people allergic to red meat. And with alpha gal, it's not just red meat. It's also like it extends to like dairy and poultry and eggs and all that. And then it's also they want people to be afraid to go like outside
into the woods
wilderness
and stuff. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
Not even for plotting stuff. No, just be outside in nature, because like being out in the sun, being out in nature, surrounded by just like forest. You don't even have like any electronics on you. Like that's how you stay healthy. You know.
I mean, I'd
that's
be
actual
kind of
medicine.
I'd be kind of stressed about it if I was like going for like a hike right now and kind of somewhere around here. Like it would be on my mind. I'd be lying if I said it wouldn't be on my mind.
Yeah, I mean, you can always just like dress up really well, tape, the bottoms of your pants to your boots. And
yeah, but that's like, then you get all hot. And I don't want to do that.
Well, it's you got to pick your battles, and I'd still prefer, fresh air, sunshine, and.
No, I agree. I like it now, but yeah. So what else is up? What else we got going on here?
So with this whole Chud thing.
Yeah.
Akin to this, so that same judge who set his bail.
Yeah.
Last year there was a colored fella, and he murdered another colored fella.
Yeah.
Like unprovoked. It was like some hood shit.
Yeah.
Completely guilty, even pled guilty. She said his bond to $250,000.
So, and I'm not an expert on this, but from what I understand, bonds are generally, they're variable. Like, there's not like this crime gets this bond.
Yeah, but we're talking about somebody who's like an obvious murderer.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, and again, it doesn't sound like Chud has lots of money. I don't know if they were maybe.
He's like a public defender.
Yeah, he has a public defender. So I don't know if they're maybe like predicting that they're like, oh, this guy's going to raise all this money. Like they kind of saw the writing on the wall. I'm more curious about that because from what I understand with bonds is, yeah, they're like, it depends on the person. Like if you're destitute, they don't give you a $1.25 million bond. It's like pointless. They're like, they give you a $10,000 bond. You're not going to be able to pay it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the bond out, you got to pay 10% of it.
10% of it, but I'm saying, like, yeah, you're like, I don't have fucking. I mean, that was Tommy McGee. Is that Tommy? Is that his name, Tommy? He's like the YouTuber or whatever, and he went into some jail in I think like Atlanta, and he's like, there was people in there who were like, yeah, I'm like, I've been here for 3 months, and my bond is like $1,000. I need like $100 to get out, and he's like, why don't you get it? He's like, I don't have anybody to give me $100. It's like, I don't have any family. I don't have any money. I don't have anything. I just can't get out.
So with this whole 2-tier justice system that Goob was bringing up, just this year alone, and this is mostly prevalent like in southern states, there have been multiple, like this is like so many arena situations.
Yeah.
Where there was one just in South Carolina. This old white dude just sitting in his truck ready to leave. Some black guy walked up to him. He's like, hey, can you give me a ride? And he's like, no. He's like, okay, give me your truck then. He's like, no. Dude pulls out a gun, shoots him 8 times.
Yeah.
He's on CCTV footage, and there are 19 witnesses.
Yeah.
In court, he pled guilty. The jury came back and acquitted him.
What? They acquitted him?
He got acquitted.
For what? Like mental incompetence?
Well, what is it, Danny? Remember the very, very famous photo of people reacting to the verdict read for Orenthal James Simpson?
Of course.
And you see who's celebrating and who's not?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So they've done multiple studies where people, where they do like racial bias is the highest amongst blacks.
I mean, you're a pretty proud white guy. I'm sure if white guys get a win, you're gonna be equally happy about that.
If they're clearly guilty, they need to serve the time. That's the problem, Danny. I'm not. This is like This is like these things that happen is going to push for tribalism. But if somebody's clearly guilty and prove it so, and there's no justification for them murdering somebody, throw them in the cage. But I forgot what the.
It says here too, by the way, that prosecutors pushed for no bond at all for Dalton, and the judge gave him $1.25 million, reasoning being seriousness of the felonies, location risk, the fact that it happened outside of a crowded courthouse with many people present, and then also the fact that he was already out on another bond, which is probably the thing I would imagine that kind of was the worst for it. Yeah.
There was last year, you remember there was like that big black lady who like beat like a 3-year-old white kid to death in like a grocery store. And they arrested her, and she was smiling in court.
Oh,
She
yeah.
Declared. She got declared incompetent to stand trial. There's already been a dozen cases of blacks murdering whites being declared incompetent to stand in the last 12 months. It happens monthly. I'm telling you, man. And plus, all these people, all these blacks. You're like, how do they get out? Like, they have these.
I mean, I will say,
interesting support networks.
Interesting fact: the judge
bail them out.
Yeah, the judge in this is a Republican, by the way, not a Democrat.
But she's a woman.
No, it's a man. Judge H. Reed Paulin III. He's a guy, white guy, and a Republican.
Wait, for the Chud case?
Yep, white guy and a Republican.
Well, we'll see what kind of Republican.
I mean, he runs as a Republican.
Yeah, well, anybody could put fucking Republican in front of their name.
Yeah, I don't know if he's like, I don't know if he's like some MAGA guy, but he
so with the instances that are happening overseas, you might have seen this one recently. There was a kid in England, last name Nowak. He got stabbed up by a Sikh because they carry those knives.
Yeah.
And he was running away. The cops got there, and then the Sikh saying he was racially abusing me. The cops cuffed the still bleeding kid, and he just bleeds out and dies there.
Crazy.
And
yeah, they have the same thing in Canada. They have the same thing in Canada. They've had that dispute for a long time in Canada, because Canada's not a big weapons country, and they're like, why do these Sikhs get to just carry this blade? And they're like, well, it's ceremonial. You're like, okay, well, it's sharp.
I mean, they're also posting videos of themselves with guns that they somehow, I don't know how they fucking get being in Canada, but all in those Brampton neighborhoods. But it also this type of thing also has happened in Australia quite a few times, where some fucking crazy sand animal stabs up some white kid, and then they tell the cops, oh, he was being racist to me. So they just put him under, mental supervision for like a week or two. But then that kid who got stabbed, he has to go to court because he got accused of racism. See, this is the whole thing of when women fall. This is like the Duke lacrosse thing.
Yeah.
They'll accuse you, and then they'll face no repercussions.
Yeah. I mean, that woman, it wasn't even until recently where she just admitted, she's like, yeah, it was all made up.
Well, I think something like she got later in life robbed and raped by other blacks because she was a black herself.
No, she was in jail for murder. She was in jail for.
Oh yeah,
she was in jail for murder. I don't know if it was this was from jail. She confessed this, or I think she's in jail for murder. I think she had a pretty lengthy sentence, and I don't know. They interviewed her about it, and she's like, "Yeah, that was all made up. It was all a lie."
It's like this whole thing of civil rights is a fucking joke. Their reparations was literally the Emancipation Proclamation, and this is an attack on freedom of association. Because you're talking about how you're in the subway and someone's playing their shit music on the speaker real loud.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to stand up and everyone's too scared to stand up and talk to them, shut it off. And it's like the access to white spaces is not a right.
Oh, so, I don't know if I'd call the New York subway a white space. Yeah, don't know about that. I don't know if you've been on the New York subway recently, but maybe it was traditionally once one. It is.
Well, yeah, when there are
certainly not one now.
When right-wing Jews start wars to displace Middle Easterners, and then left-wing Jews welcome them into the nations they occupy.
It's not Middle Easterners on the trains either. They are quite well behaved, actually.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also, the blacks that, the Jews, Jews like to celebrate and brag about how they're at the forefront of the civil rights movement, which is, I don't see, I don't see the very, very tight-knit Jewish communities openly, allowing blacks. I'm not saying that they don't let them walk through the neighborhood, but,
I mean, they do.
Crown Heights.
They don't love
but then you get a Crown Heights riot type situation that gets led up to it.
Sure.
The thing is we're all witnessing in shitification. Like this whole import the third world, become the third world. It's literally happening. Yeah,
it's
Canada,
definitely happening. There's no question about that.
And it's just unfair because white people literally built the modern world that the rest of the world gets to enjoy, and they're not going to maintain it. Look what happened with South Africa. Look what happened.
My only advice to you, and then I got to let you go, is find a Miss Slav and go have some fucking. Go have some little ones.
You were talking about with the kids. No, you were talking about with the kids and the population. They make sure white people get into debt very early by telling them go to college, and that's if they even get to admitted into college. They rack up debt. They're renting for the rest of their life. Half their paycheck goes out.
That's a
and then
recent
these people, and
thing,
then all these shitholers show up with some fake asylum claim. They get boarded up. They get put up into nice homes. And then fucking Abdul can bring his cousin's sister wife and her cousin and all their kids, and then they can claim that their kids have ADHD or autism. They can double up and stack up and triple up on disability payments that we pay for, and then everyone's like, why aren't people having kids? Like, because we're literally paying for our own replacement, and Jews celebrate this stuff. Like,
I mean, I'll tell you what, Jews don't love paying extra taxes for nothing. I don't know if you think Jews are like, yes, I love paying extra taxes for nothing.
No, they love this whole blending, this whole nonsense of melting pot. Like that whole inscription on the bottom of the Statue of Liberty, the whole inscription on the Statue of Liberty, that was added a few decades later by some Jew.
I know.
And
written by a
what
Jewish
I think
woman.
is Israel needs more diversity. We need the women of Tel Aviv and Haifa to feel like the women who walk at night.
I mean,
in
Israel's
London, in Berlin.
Pretty diverse, actually.
No, I'm talking doctors and engineers type diversity.
Yeah,
One
I mean, there's tons of
rap.
I mean, I don't know what it's like now. I imagine it's more so, but when I went to Israel, there's tons of Ethiopians there, like tons.
Yeah, and they're all sterilized.
Yeah,
and drugged up.
I know.
By the state itself.
I bet you're jealous of that. All right, I gotta let you go. Slav, everybody. All right, let's go to Will. I'm not gonna be able to get to all these calls. I'm gonna do my best to get to as many of them as possible. It's already after 9 o'clock. Let's go to Will. Will, what's happening?
Danny, what's up, bud?
How's it going, man?
So I wanted to talk about low IQ racism versus high IQ racism.
Yeah, this is a big debate. I see Nick Fuentes is not happy about this, actually.
I'm just going to do some middle-of-the-road racism for the moment.
Okay.
And then move on. I got a new conspiracy. So first of all, Chud the Builder, they're going to pin him to the wall because he's not a Jewish bioweapon.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did want to apologize to Apu.
Okay. Like from The Simpsons?
Apu, Apu, he called in earlier.
Oh, Abdul.
Yeah, Apu.
Abdul.
They're all Apu.
Apu's an Indian thing. We're getting back in the low IQ pool.
There's shades and grades that are nuanced, but this is kind of personal, so I'm taking it to that level.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry that evolution did not give you a highly developed prefrontal cortex with enough gray matter to understand that the white man is actually your greatest ally in the fight against you and your children and your children's children being debt slaves and living in the pods and eating the bugs till the heat death of the universe.
Okay.
That's just biology.
Can you
expound?
Expound on that a little bit?
Yes. So there's something about an evolution. We're talking about millions of years, hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution.
By the way, I don't think Abdul doesn't like white people. By the way, I think he doesn't like racist white people, but I don't think from my conversations with Abdul, where he's the type of person who's like, I hate white people.
Well, if he's talking about being okay with white people being eradicated, you're a piece of shit.
Well, I think it's
You're
a bit
just
of
a
a.
piece
I
of
think
shit.
that's a bit of a troll for kind of like the more racist viewers, but.
Actually, that does high IQ racism.
I think
what
he's
is
trying to fire you up, and I think you're taking the bait.
But it's also confirming it's just reaffirming what I already believe. And if we go by the Greek definition of racism, because we live in the low IQ racism where you just see people and we're like, ugh, hate. You go in the emotional, where you go into the Greek racism with probable cause, where yes, there's something about like sub-Saharan Africa, and it's something to do with, I don't know, temperature, the land and everything, where these people like him just do not have as a developed prefrontal cortex, where we also have more gray matter.
I mean,
kind of like with the Indians and everything.
He seems pretty sharp to me. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not going to
you
say.
can-
I'm
you
not
can
going
put
to
a
say.
mask on anything.
I'm not going to say he's a representative of all people because I don't. Obviously everybody is their own person.
But you're also right. It also comes down to language and culture. So if you have a more developed language, which they've dumbed us down.
Yeah, I mean English is the top language, no doubt about that.
Actually, ancient Greek is actually, what is it? English has like 500,000 base words. Ancient Greek has like 1.2 million. So ancient Greek is actually one of the most superior. But it does, because you have
How'd they
like
track
black
all
people
those words
that like,
back then?
I don't know, there was super smart dudes.
Yeah.
But
go on.
yeah, no, it comes down to actually multiple things, because we know how we don't live in a society with any kind of nuance. Everything's just black or white, when even those communities are not monoliths.
Mm-hmm.
It comes down to language, culture. This is why, the flooding of the third world into America, you flood a superior culture with inferior culture, it's going to dumb you down. And that's what they've done.
Yeah, see, I don't. The problem is like at what point, at least because obviously, and I feel this. My frame of reference here is Canada, but like it was always the case where it's like my friends who were like whose parents came over from somewhere else, but they were Canadian, born in Canada. Like they always assimilated perfectly fine.
Right.
It was more just like it was, the people who are from a different culture, which is to be expected. It's like if you go over, get dropped in some other country, you're probably just like, yeah, this is kind of weird. This is kind of foreign. But generally, I find
you want to slide into some.
I feel like generally they do assimilate well over time.
No, but it takes a longer period of time. That's why you get them individually and bring them in. You don't just in mass where they bring in.
I mean,
their
I
culture.
agree with
they
that.
Have to separate. They have to separate. You have to separate from your old culture into the superior culture.
Yes.
Otherwise, it just doesn't work. You get what we're seeing to these days.
I mean, Canada has that
which
problem right
actually
now. Everybody's bringing over all their fucking blood feuds. America has it as well, and you're like, leave that shit at the fucking door. Like nobody's interested in that
but
stuff.
that doesn't happen when you bring them in large numbers. That's why you have people shitting on the beach. Dude, I just saw some video of some dude, First Nations, just talking about like, hey, let's just, go out and start offing these guys. So
hey man, the First Nations in Canada would get a fucking pass. They would just be like, all right, I guess yeah, go ahead.
They're a sovereign nation. Let them do what they want to do.
Yeah.
But this actually does tie into, I got a new conspiracy for you.
Okay, let's hear it.
So they're going around all these government hollow shills talking about how aliens are demons and aliens and the Book of Enoch and everything. And it all ties into trauma-based mind control, NLP, and the Christianization of pagans.
Okay, continue. I'm listening.
So there's something about monotheism that creates really good population control. That's why you have Egyptian. Most everything's based on Egyptian slave control and everything like that.
You get more of a consensus.
So it comes down.
It seems like you can kind of,
right.
Because they famously say about like the Middle East, it's like there's all these tribes everywhere. That's why they're always fighting, and in Africa and stuff is there's just like a million different tribes, and there's just
right. But if you can get them all worshiping the same God under the same,
you kind of get them on the same page.
You can control them.
Yeah.
So there's something about monotheism and the belief in just a singularity controlling everything that damages the part of the brain for rational thinking. And they've been doing it for thousands of years. And it really does date back to the Christianization of pagans, where they took all the pagan deities and then turned them into subcategories, angels and demons.
Sure.
So archangels, seraphim, cherubs, and everything like that. Because Christianity was not just like, oh, hey, this is so good, this is so awesome. No, it was spread by the sword, and it was a top-down forced religion for mind control.
Similar to Islam.
So, of course, you have to, it's all Jew-like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally, it's literally all. Jesus was a Jew. It's Jew-like. Islam was created from Judaism, blah, blah. I don't exactly know the deets on that one. But the thing about the aliens was, I think it was something about how people were kind of fading from the Christian zealotry. And so you got to update the system.
So are you saying that religious people are stupider than non-religious people? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
No, because you have but it does affect, and it depends on the person, but it's trying to take a incomprehensible thing and put it in a cup.
Yeah.
And there's something about that, especially when you believe, you get the Holy Spirit.
I mean, definitely Christianity is, I will say, like, it has a lot of like real genius things about it in terms of controlling people. But the fact that you're like, you're here for maximum 100 years, let's say, and they're like, yes, but
right.
Afterwards it's eternity. So, you're
right, but that's the fear-based mind control.
Yeah, but it's clever.
It's a fear-based mind control.
It's very clever.
No, I know, but they are clever. They think we're stupid and we're cattle. It's clever and intelligent because you have to keep this massive population from just because they're trying to get us to that New World Order, and which is interesting. I just was listening to Metzger and whatever that dude yesterday, and he was talking about how America was invented to create. It was pushing us towards that new world, one world order, where we're all just, the Borg. We live in our cubes, and we're all just debt slaves.
Yeah.
So it's all about language. It's all about fear, mind control.
I'm gonna get Kurt on actually in the next couple of weeks. I'm gonna send him a message after this. I'm gonna get him to come on. I think it's
he's pretty spot on. The only thing I have a problem with Kurt is the Christianity where he thinks it was populism, but it wasn't, because it wasn't like a bunch of people got together and decided to be Christians. Like I said, it was top down, forced upon. Nero turned Rome to Christianity overnight. Christians slaughtered pagans.
Yeah.
I mean, you either converted or you were just like, well, we're going to slaughter you. There's something about monotheism in general. And this is, people talk about Jews. Well, it's not just the Jews. Like I say, the Jews are the trans of religion.
Yeah, because the Jews never enforced their religion with violence. Maybe maybe financial violence.
Zionism.
Yeah.
Well, there's different levels of violence. I mean, there is that usury, which was created by the Templars, and I think the Jews are really just kind of the covering scapegoats for the Jesuits.
Ah, yeah, I had this guy on who wrote this whole book about that, and that was his whole thing. He goes, "No, it's not."
Yeah,
it's not the Jews. He's like, it's the Jesuits.
Right, because I'm seeing what's coming out of Israel and the people that are there. Like I said, they're the trans, so they're the loud, and everybody's going to focus on the Jews. when in the shadows, you know, you got the Jesuits, the black nobility, and the papal bloodline. I'm not saying Jews aren't. I mean, the people in Israel right now are inbred psychopaths for a lot of the part.
Yeah. Sure.
There's something about but then this is where is the Jewish identity was created by the Persians to control the Levant.
Yeah.
So there's nothing magical. There's nothing mystical. There's nothing holy about Israel. It comes down to that it has been a major trade route for thousands upon thousands of years.
Yeah.
Like 30% of the world's goods go through the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah, something like that.
And then the leveling of Gaza, it's not to return the people to their holy land, which, yes, they were promised it by the Persians, said, you control this area, we control you, and we control the trade.
Yeah. It's all just
That's
dollars.
where the Ben Gurion Canal comes in.
It just all comes down to dollars and cents at the end of the day, right? All right, well, I got to let you go.
Stupid.
I got to let you go.
All right, have a good one, man.
Appreciate you calling in. Dylan says, not a fan of people in the largest social program who unalive children for banking cartels, taking themselves out instead of their commanders on my dime. Fair. And Howling Labubu says, Danny, have you had to do struggle sessions in university? No. When I was in university, that was pre any of this nonsense. So, no, I did not have to do any of that stuff. This was before any of this stuff really came to pass. All right, let's go to Luke. I'm going to take, you know what? If you guys, I have 3 more callers on the line. I'll take them all. We'll just bang them out quick. Thank you for joining me tonight. And no bathhouse tomorrow. It's dead. Hello, Luke. You're on Low Value Mail.
Hey, Daddy.
Thank you for your patience.
Danny, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Hey, how's it going? It's Lou from Guam.
What's up? Luke from Guam. This show is international.
Yeah, damn right it is. And hopefully we can bring back the bathhouse, all right? I'm not giving up on resurrecting it.
Yeah, it's not coming back. Maybe down the line, some similar iteration, but it's not going to be anytime soon. I'll say that. But
yeah, I figured.
Just don't be guys. Don't be hopeless about it. I've learned some things, some mistakes I've made. Maybe it'll return. We'll see.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Don't be hopeless, because I feel like we can get this thing coming back. And honestly, I think you should keep the name Bathhouse. It's just grimy enough to keep around.
Yeah, it probably won't be. If it ever comes back, it won't be called the Bathhouse, because that was one of the mistakes.
You think so? I think if it was a whole different channel named the Bathhouse.
I had 50 people being like, I can't find this on YouTube. Like, literally, they're like,
it's right, because it's under it's on the Low Value Mail channel.
Yeah, but they're like, I can't find the episodes. They're like, I searched for it and I can't find it. I don't know. I'll do some, if it ever comes back, I will do some serious research into YouTube SEO before I bring it back, if it ever returns.
All right, well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd talk about a little bit about racism, since I never do that when I call into the show. So his ideas to
it's a hot topic.
All right. So when I was on one of the submarines out here, we were on deployment and we're all bored. So we decided we were going to search up about racism, because I developed this reputation for being the most racist, which I denied. I said I'm not the most racist.
You have internet on subs?
I don't believe in racism at all, but it's a long story. I can't really talk about it. It's one of those things like you can't discuss outside the subject.
Okay, but obviously you do. But go ahead.
So we looked up what is essentially race and the difference between race and ethnicity and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so we found an interesting article. So there are 3 races initially. It's a Mongoloid, Caucasoid, and what was the other one? Oh, Negrozoid, which is obviously the funniest one to say.
Sure.
Yeah. And so we learned that people from different areas on the earth are obviously fall into one of these 3 classes. If you're Caucasoid, obviously that's like the European area, part of North Africa,
Mongoloid,
into Asia.
Asians.
Yeah, the Mongoloid. Yeah, Mongoloid's more like, I think, Eastern Russia to China to Japan, and essentially when the Polynesians were around sailing down to the other islands like Guam and to Chuuk and like all the way I think they got to Hawaii. Not sure.
Yeah, I mean, they look like the same type of
those are the Mongoloid. Yeah, and then you got the Negrozoids, and those, I mean, you could probably guess Africa primarily. A little bit of Asia. And then everything from there is an ethnicity. So you got, let's say Arabs, they're Caucasoid and Negrozoid. You got the Hispanics, which are basically mutt. They're all three because the slave trade and all the colonies from Spain. So they have black, white, Asian. They're all a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the reason I brought it up is that I was thinking, why do we like think about races as if, like, Hispanic is not a race? Like, I never thought Hispanic is a race. There was this dude who did a DNA test. He was also Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican, and we looked through his thing. He said, "See, I'm 33% black, but it's like 2% Congo, 2% Nigerian, 1% whatever the fuck."
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was
that is interesting. Yeah, I mean, most
like,
Hispanics, well, not most Hispanics, but yeah, they do. They're definitely a mix of something, for sure. I mean, some of them are just white people.
Like,
there's enough of them who are just like.
Yeah, if you look at it, like, my cousin also did one of these DNA tests. Same result, like basically like 29% black, and then mostly Portuguese and Spanish, and then like the biggest chunk is native Puerto Rican, which I think they're called Taino.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. And what's the kind of overall theory here? That like racism is silly?
Oh no, I mean I kind of understand it, but also like where do you like where is Hispanic supposed to belong? Because personally, like, if you ask me when I was a kid, I'd say I'm Hispanic, but I mean, I feel mostly white.
Right.
Like,
I
feel
look white?
like I tan really well, but like if you look at like the parts I wear clothes on, obviously I'm like neon white.
Yeah,
I'm, like,
isn't that
white,
like on the
I get
census?
dark.
Isn't that like it's like white and then like or is it like non-Hispanic white or whatever? Like, isn't that a term?
Yeah, it's on the census, and like there's like Asian, black, white, all that stuff, and then it's like Hispanic as is his own little tick mark. Yeah. So I obviously tick white and then Hispanic because, I mean, black's not going to cut it. I'm not convincing anybody I'm black.
Right. So you guys are kind of like in between.
Exactly. It's a mix of all of them. And I'm like, I understand like some of the other callers talking about the white race not being replaced. But also, like, I feel like I fall in the white race.
Yeah.
Like, my skin color is very white. I just tan well.
Yeah, and I think if shit really gets crazy, the whites will take you. They'll just be like, all right, we need bodies. We'll take you.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't want to go to the Mexicans. Like, I feel like if I ever had to go to jail, I'd have to fall in with the Mexicans, but I don't speak Mexican Spanish. I speak, like, good Spanish.
Right. Yeah, you're like fancy Spanish. Interesting. All right, Luke, I got to let you go, man. But thanks for calling in. Luke, everybody. All right, 2 more calls. We're going to go to Ragnar. And then we're going to go to PK, the American Cowboy. And then we're going to send this baby home. Excuse me. Thanks again, everybody, for all the super chats, all these fucking jewels. I can't read all your jewels. There's so many of them. I don't. Iron Man Metal Bill says Danny is top J. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. Feels good to be the top J. Okay, Ragnar is not picking up. So we're going to go to PK instead. Ragnar, you didn't spend the last hour on hold to not answer the phone, man. I can't believe it. Yo, PK, what's up, man?
Yo, what happened to the other guy?
Ragnar? I don't know. I've never seen this name before, and he's been on hold for like an hour, but he didn't pick up.
Yeah.
He's still there, though, so maybe
yeah,
he's just
all
figuring it out. I don't know. Some people get confused by it.
All right. Well, so I just wanted to talk about, like, Chud and, like, kind of like cultures and stuff like that.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So in Japan, they have this phrase, this saying that the downfall of society starts with the one individual.
Okay.
Okay, so that's why over in Japan, everybody typically follows societal rules, cultural.
Yeah, they're very collectivist.
Norms, stuff like that. Yeah, like because it's for the good of the whole society.
Yes.
Right. But
which we do not have in
in
America.
In the individualistic sense, though, if you want to do weird stuff, they frown upon it, but they aren't going to stop you. They just let you know, like, hey, you do your weird shit on your own time, in your own freaking space, and that's fine.
Yes.
You know? So, yeah. So now, with that being said, like, how we are here in the West, specifically the American West, okay,
Yes.
the American civilization, unlike the Western civilization of Europeans, because they're pretty much a bunch of fages.
Yep. Yeah, we're in the good one.
Here we have this idea. Yeah, we have this idea of rugged individualism, but also we should have this identity of proper community and shared culture within our region of America. Like you got the American Southwest, you've got the South, you've got the the New Englanders, Midwesterners, you know, the Pacific Northwesterners, and then obviously the West Coast people, right?
Yeah.
And
the
I
South.
think we have the coming of internet and the TikTok and these damn influencers have ruined everything, because everything has turned into this amalgamation of everybody wants to be like Europe, but nobody wants to be European. Everybody talks bad about American culture, but everybody wants to have American culture.
Yeah, that's,
And
I mean, I'll say the
everybody
talking
sees-
bad about American culture that's more of like a jealousy hater thing, because you're like, look, American culture dictates
Of course.
the culture
They're a bunch of
of
fucking
the
haters.
of the world. They are haters. Like everything is top down. Everything moves downhill from America culture wise. There's no question about that.
Yeah. And so, you know, and kind of this thing that has gotten lost is that the American culture in like the actual whole country, that's not state by state, not region by region, is the idea that we are going to share these things. Like, you know, the founding of our country was built on the backs of people that had a bigger idea, you know, that they were looking out for their people in this country. And, you know, obviously I hate illegal immigrants. To be honest, I hate most immigrants. They just work my damn nerves.
Not me though, right?
Freaking like, I don't know. You're borderline, Danny. You keep talking about this Canada bullshit.
I'll take it.
And you know, I don't look fondly on that. When
I just want people to know what's
fascist,
yeah,
you're out, bud.
I just want people to know what's going on there, you know?
Yeah, but you know, like I'm of the mindset, like the way that they wrote about it back in the founding, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody, when the 4th of July comes around, when the birthday of the nation comes around, everybody should celebrate with sport, with fireworks, shooting firearms, celebrating with drinking,
hot dogs,
playing games, fair. Yeah, all that stuff, you know.
You know what? And I think
that
they
was
do.
envisioned in their head.
I really do feel like 4th of July is like, you know, the holidays, but specifically 4th of July. I think that's kind of like the one. I don't know if there's any really like abstainers in America, because it's like 4th of July, especially if you're not.
There's a bunch of fucking haters.
Are there really? I've never known. Like I get so pumped for 4th of July. I'm like 4th of July. I'm like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I get pumped for 4th of July. Like
Yeah.
the only holidays I really celebrate.
Yeah, you're like,
are
what's not to like?
Christmas, Easter, and 4th of July. Oh, and Hallows Eve.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
Oh,
like,
and
I don't-
Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
But,
you're
like, everything else,
Memorial
you know?
Day. You're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with Memorial Day.
Yeah. Fucking like, sure. Thanks a lot, all the dead veterans. Sure.
Mhm.
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. I'm gonna
Like, but,
have a beer.
you know?
Eat some hot dogs.
So, but that's what I'm saying, right? Like, freaking these guys that fucking come over here, fucking that stupid light bulb head motherfucker, Abdul, he comes here, he doesn't understand the culture, and he's talking about like, but he had a gun, and it's just like, yeah, motherfucker, because we can do that here.
Yeah.
Like, we have some fucking sense. If everybody had the sense of an actual, like, an American that is not fucking like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, like all these fucking gangbangers, all these chiggas and fucking wiggas and fucking, you know, fucking YNs.
By the way,
fucking,
your
you know,
racism
these
is
cholos.
so you have such like refreshing racism. It's like a cold shower on a hot day.
Oh yeah, right. Just bam, splash of cool ice drink on your face.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like, if people have the regular sense, unlike these fucking ridiculous people, it's just like everybody would be fine. But we just can't have nice things here, you know?
Yeah.
And it's unfair that like one group of people can say this word, but there's another group, like that just sounds crazy to me.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
like,
again, it's like you can say it. Like you can say it. It's just again, like maybe you're not the best example, but like you do understand the point that I made at the beginning, which is like if you go around disrespecting men,
I understand that.
You're going to get into a fight.
Yes, I
like
understand.
You're like an MMA
also,
guy.
Though,
you're like,
yes. I mean, if I go around talking like that, like freaking, I'm getting ready to.
Yeah, you're getting ready to fucking
right
fight.
When I say it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's the other end of that, where that part of society, the gang culture side, the worst export that American culture has ever given to the world, hip hop culture.
Yeah.
When that side pushes back so hard, and then it's just like, dude, you're telling me now, like I can't say anything, but you constantly bully these people that look like me, you know, like white people, Asian people, whatever, you know,
Asians.
And when I call it out, you start to get butthurt, and then you're the victim. Like, nah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like, if they didn't act like that, we wouldn't be using those words. We would still have regular, polite society. Nobody would be calling anybody fucking nigga. Nobody would be, you know, saying any of that. Nobody would be fucking on repeat saying, say it again, say hello, you know, talking on repeat, uploading the frickin' the mental capacity of a fucking Somali right there, you know, frickin' getting retarded, frickin', loading up their chimp meter, frickin'. So, you know, like when you hear repeating, that's like, you know, like they're loading up on that what is it?
I feel like we had such a sweet spot.
My ancestors were slaves.
Yeah. I feel like there was such a sweet spot too. Like I feel like 10 years ago, like when Louis was kind of just dropping it nonstop, and you're like, we kind of had like this good. We were in like a better spot, and then I mean, it's all just all the DEI stuff. It's like it just made everybody so much more racist. Like it literally accomplished the opposite of what it intended. They were like, we need to cure racism, and you're like, you made everybody more racist.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, like this whole thing of like racism and all that stuff, it's just like, you know, I'm pretty prejudiced, you know, like if I look at you and I just get an inkling of if you just even look like a gangbanger, I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm going to cross the street here.
Yeah, but that's what part of that
I don't
is
even
that
want to
just
engage.
Survival and, you know.
It's exactly, but that's
self-preservation.
That's free judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, but that's
Common Soul talks about this.
That's like animals do that too, though. You're like, you know, that's like almost an animalistic feature where you just go, that seems like a threat to me, and I don't want to find out if I don't want to be wrong. So.
Yeah. So, and people think like I'm saying this like I only look at like black people or Mexicans. No, I'm looking at these fucking Asians, these fucking white guys, these fucking everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, this guy looks like a fucking gay. I'm gonna cross the street before I fucking have to.
Dude, nobody's ever crossed the
stupid,
street
you know?
when
like,
they saw any man of any race in a 3-piece suit. ever.
No, definitely not.
Never.
No.
You're just like, it's not a threat.
Yeah, and people, so I grew up here in the SFA area. I was born in the 80s, and then I grew up in the 90s, obviously, being able to walk around and be outside. And, like, gangbanging culture was gigantic here in California.
Oh, I bet.
From the early 80s all the way up until the 2000s. And, I mean, it's still prolific now, but I think it's kind of dying down a little bit.
Yeah, it sounds like it's fallen off a little bit.
But when I was growing up in middle school, high school, freaking the worst fucking motherfuckers were the damn Asians.
Really?
They would chain snatch other Asian babies. Like,
babies?
People would be walking around with their they'd be walking around with their babies, and it's really big in Asian culture to buy your freaking stupid 1-year-old baby a ridiculously gigantic 24-karat fucking gold chain.
And they rip a chain off a baby?
Yeah.
Never heard of this before.
They are pieces of shit. Yeah, you're from Canada. Fucking,
yeah,
you guys.
I mean, dude, we have lots of we have lots of Asian.
Something.
No, there's lots of Asian fucking gangs in Canada, like huge ones. It used to be forever.
Yeah.
They were like all the Vietnamese were like ran all the weed in all of Canada, like all the drugs. And,
freaking it. So like freaking, and those guys, they're all influenced by freaking. Again, the worst fucking export of American culture, fucking rap culture, hip hop culture, and it's just like I've never found an affinity towards that. Like, but I mean, you grow up with people, and you don't give up your friend just because they go a different direction,
Right?
Freaking like that's kind of my fault. Like, it's just like, damn, dog, you're a gangbanger. Like, fuck. I talk shit about guys like you,
Couldn't get him into fucking country music, huh?
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. And it's kind of crazy because these same guys, like, half of them are the valedictorians of the high school and
the good Asians.
And so, like, half of them are gangbangers.
Yeah. I mean, it's how it goes.
Hardcore gangbangers.
I mean, not everybody can be the valedictorian. Someone's got to be a gangbanger,
exactly,
I
right?
guess.
And well, some of them are gangbangers and valedictorians.
Really?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yes.
Asian valedictorian gangbangers.
Yeah. So there was a case down in OC where it was some Asian gangs, like some East Asian gangs. It was like some Waching or something, and then some Cambodian gangs or whatever, some KRGs. But basically, the guy went into the pool hall, saw this guy, his quote unquote enemy. These fucking guys, like they're fucking in a war zone or something. But he sees him, and then he comes back with a pistol, and he shoots him, and then he walks up to him and executes him. The guy that executed him, that guy had a 4.0 GPA.
Is this guy Robert Chan? Robert Chan?
Yeah, I don't fucking know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Probably.
Asian if you Google it, Asian valedictorian gangster generally refers to Robert Chan, a prominent case from Orange County, California in the 90s.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? And I bet he's doing okay. I don't know. I imagine he's out of jail, and I bet you he's doing okay right now. I bet you he like parlayed this into like a speaking career and turned his whole life around. And yeah,
I don't know.
I bet you he has. Man.
Honest,
those Asians are smart, dude. They're smart.
I hope he turns his life around, but I hope he's still behind bars.
Well, that's from the 90s.
Like,
There's no way he's behind bars anymore. That would have been that's 30 years. Even if he got life sentence, he'd be out. And you probably know he was a model prisoner. All right, PK, I gotta let you go. I gotta wrap this up. But good talking to you, man. PK, everybody. I'm going to go read about this notorious Chinese gang watching. Sounds racist, to be honest. That's been the show, everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight on an all-new episode of Low Value Mail. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Guys, subscribe to the channel. I don't know. Literally nobody subscribes to this channel. I can't believe we're not at 10,000 subscribers yet. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. Again, thank you for all the super chats, all the jewels, whatever the hell that is. I don't know what that is. Are you guys just like giving me literal pennies? Is that some sick, twisted anti-Semitic joke you guys are doing? Anyways, thanks again. We'll see you next week. Good night.
My shit heroic. Empathic abilities, yeah, my face be also stoic. Bleep blow up, nigga, that just means I'm working. They see me as a leader, so that's why I'm Captain Kirkin. These tracks from the stars, that much is for certain. You can fit his hit if you up or if you hurt. I'm raising my stock, not talking my feet in some Birkin. Number Johnny 5, got a fucking short circuit. Bring the track to life when I spit phenomenal. When I hit, she feel that shit in her abdominals. These rappers make me laugh like comic view, they comic through. You know I got a ball out, I hit the track running just like Sonic do. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, they was trying to get me on my hype shit. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, and they tried to down me up some KO type shit. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, now we pulling up fresh on some flight shit. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. They don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, they was trying to get me on my hype shit. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah, then they tried to down me up some KO type shit. Yeah, they don't wanna turn on my light switch. Yeah.